where the gamers unite, along with Aaron and Frosty. We'll take team flight, tune in, level up, turn the quest. In the world of action, we're the best. Welcome to the Town Portal Podcast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 5 of the official Town Portal Podcast. My name is Aaron, the owner and operator of the YouTube channel Action RPG, and with me, as always, is my co-host, Diablo 4's #1 super fan. So excited about all the news from Gamescom, Frostylaroo. Say hello, Mr. Frosty.
Hello, hello. Hi, everybody. Thanks, Aaron, for the nice introduction. I'm really excited about today's episode because we have a fantastic guest with us, a once all-star D2 speedrunner and parkour instructor who's now become a go-to expert in the Diablo IV community, especially when it comes to mastering the Necromancer class. Please join us in welcoming MacroBioBoi to the show. We're excited to have you here. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to our billions of listeners?
Yeah, Frosty, you're getting really good at this.
That was really good. That
really
was way
was
too good. What to do, everybody? I'm MacroBioBoi. I'm like at least half of the things that Frosty just said. But yeah, I play a lot of the Necromancer. I was a parkour instructor, which being from Boston, saying hardcore parkour, I definitely didn't get sick of that. But thank you guys so much for having me. I'm really excited. That intro was sexy, by the way. Can we talk about this?
You like that?
That's so well made. That's awesome.
One of the benefits of having a professional video editor as your co-host, it comes with some perks doing a podcast with them. So
the bennies.
Right.
I need to get you on.
The animation.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was talking about like my little script that I read there. I don't know. I was just getting
That was also great. It was phenomenal.
Thank you.
It's the best intro I've ever gotten, hands down, no question.
Dude, look at that. I love it. All right, we have a great show for everybody today. We're going to talk with Macro for a little bit, get to know him. We're going to check out some videos that came out from Gamescom yesterday and today. And then we're going to put Macro in between two portals and hit him with the hard questions like boxers or briefs. I don't know. It's the question my community wants to know, so I hope he's ready for the hard-hitting stuff like that.
Yeah, weird questions over there. I was hanging out for a little bit. You got some fun people in chat.
Fun is an interesting way to describe them. I know. All right, Frosty, you want to hit Macro with the first question?
Yeah, first one is usually an easy one and a fun one. What was your favorite video game or video games growing up? What is in your rotation now? And are there any games you're looking forward to in the future?
Wow.
Yeah. We can knock this out of the park. My favorite game when I was growing up. My favorite game when I was growing up was EverQuest. The games that are currently in my rotation are EverQuest. Unironically, I play on a private server, Project 99 on Green server. I'm playing a Necromancer there as well. I have a bit of a theme here. But no, I mean, like, realistically, other than action RPGs, I really like to sit inside of like real-time strategy games, survival horror games. Like, I play a ton of basically every single early access survival game that has come out on Steam and then been absolutely abandoned over the past 10 years. I've probably played it. That's
RTS games?
Oh, I'm like real trash, but I was super excited about, I just found out that Age of Mythology is getting a remaster. I just found out about that because of Gamescom. My jaw was on the floor, unironically, watching that. But I mean, like, just like any of the Age of Empires games. I was playing something Crusade recently, which is just like absolutely kicking my butt. But really just like old school, give me that nostalgia hit type games.
Very nice. When it comes to Blizzard, any games that you have played from them that is not Diablo?
Oh, I mean, everything. Like, I played OG StarCraft when that came out. Nice. I only ever played online No Rush Map Max 20.
Yes.
And I would only play Zerg and just mass Hydralisks because they shot from far away and were fast. So I thought that was good.
And they shoot air. So good.
Isn't it pretty funny how back in the day, the NR20 maps, like probably about 95% of people actually respected that. And like, I feel like today it just would not happen.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I was obviously bad at the game, but that made me feel like I could actually strategize. Like I was playing against computers because there's only so much you can do on them. But I mean, I played everything. I have over a year's worth of hours on a single warlock in World of Warcraft. I played that from game release up until, I don't know, like Warlords of Draenor, and then I came back for Legion for a little bit. I basically played everything they've put out. It was phenomenal.
New expansion tomorrow, real quick.
I lost it. I was like, oh yeah, I played Legion. So like how long? It was like 2016 when Legion dropped. If you go back and check, which I'm pretty sure is illegal and impossible. But like, hey, I guess I'm just old now.
Frosty, I have to ask you, are you truly excited for WoW, or is it just like I'm gonna play it? Like, are you?
Oh yeah, no, I'm excited, especially when the new expansion comes out. I can't wait. And then while I'm playing it, I slowly start losing that enthusiasm. Actually, sometimes fairly quick. And then I'm like, what am I doing? And then I get stuck in a raid group, and then I'm like, I have to stay here because I have commitment issues where my issue is that I stay committed. And we need to just beat that final boss, and then I can leave. And I just keep thinking, we got to beat that final boss so I can stop playing this and play other games. That's usually how it goes. And then I stop playing, and then the next season comes out. I'm like, can't wait to play that. And the cycle continues.
You know, a Diablo 4 super fan would not say that he's super excited for World of Warcraft. I don't know.
Did you see the 3-day early access for $90? Sorry, that's my dog squeaking. I mean, come on, Diablo 4 doesn't even have the early access anymore. Like,
I don't know.
I don't know if they're losing it.
You're right. You're right. When you're right, you are right.
You only judge a game by how much it costs, right?
Mr. Macro, how did you end up working with the Max Roll guys?
And gals? A whole bunch of great people over there. Basically, the Diablo 2 speedrunning community had all of like 8 people in it, and the majority of them had full-time jobs.
Okay.
And I was enough of a nerd to kind of get in with a lot of the top runners. And when Maxwell was looking to branch out into Diablo 2 Resurrected, they're like, hey, who knows enough about this game to basically completely recreate? There was a great website still there called the Amazon Basin, basically making a modern version of that website. And originally it was BT Neanderthal. He's a great friend of mine, just got married. Congratulations to him.
Very nice.
He got brought onto the team, put my name forward. And then basically after a while, it was mostly like me and another guy named Teo. He's like the grandfather of speedrunning the game, who just like,
and real quick,
the rest of it.
By speedrun, you like first to 100 or other types of speedrunning?
Very short. So speedrunning Diablo 2 typically is either beating the game on normal difficulty or beating the game all the way to hell difficulty. So to give you an idea,
how fast are we talking?
Yeah,
8-player team can now beat Hell Bale in 1 hour in under an hour and 30 minutes. Complete the entirety of the game in less than an hour and a half. Solo, like somebody running that solo.
How is that even possible? How is it?
It's unironically, up until like 2 months ago, we thought it kind of was impossible. And the team there, amazing dudes, have just been grinding it down and grinding it down and grinding it down since all the way back in LOD.
Wow.
That's pretty fast.
You do any speed runs recently, or are you out of the game?
The last speed run I did, like, I mean, I speed run every once in a while. I'm most known for doing the pacifist speed run. Which is kind of funny. You know, Aaron was just playing basically a Thorns build in Last Epoch. The last thing that I did that's of note was I was the first person ever to beat the game in one sitting, so 32 hours, without attacking a single monster, ever. And I beat the game as a pacifist in 32 hours.
Nice.
Now, that world record has been broken since then. I had to take a 4-hour nap during that.
I see.
I was going to ask.
It was insane. Unironically, like, changed some of our fundamental understandings of the video game because of weird bugs I kept running into that we had just like never quantified before, and until I did that run.
That's a pretty cool
What did you figure
story.
out?
That's pretty cool.
Okay, God, it's so technical.
Oh no. Okay.
No. I'll go very, very short. Very, very short.
Okay.
Bosses in the game. So if you fight like Diablo in the game, he doesn't regenerate health. He doesn't regen at all. That's like a special thing about bosses. So anything in the game you have to kill doesn't normally regenerate, except if you unload a specific unique monster in the Chaos Sanctuary and then reload it, it forgets this special parameter and then begins regenerating like a normal monster would, which basically meant the run was impossible to finish. and I had to figure that out 20 hours into a single speed run.
Wow.
How to overcome that.
All right. Well, to switch gears real quick here, how did you come up with your name, MacroBioBoi, and how did you get started in content creating?
So my name is Mako. That's Maco. I'm very much from Boston. I can't stress that enough. I have a degree in microbiology, and MacroBio was already taken on Twitch. So I added BOI. It was like boy, makes it MBB.
Boy.
I thought it would make it so easy for people to read. Nobody can read it. Everybody calls me MacroBioBoi, which is perfectly fine. I did this to myself. But yeah, I have a degree in microbiology. I never did anything with it. And what was the second part of the question?
Basically, how did you get started as a content creator, and how's your journey been leading up till today?
MacroBioBoi.
MacroBioBoi is so much. So I was watching GDQ, and I got really into watching Super Mario Brothers speedruns like Grand Pooh Bear and a lot of other great guys, Mitch Flower Power. And I was also got the itch to play Diablo 2 again. You know what I mean? You're just like, oh, let me go play an old game I haven't played in a while.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait a minute. People speedrun video games. I bet you people speedrun this. I watched a couple runs by basically the most famous D2 creator, Mr. Llama SC.
Yep.
I just started getting into it. Then basically you have to record your runs to submit them to speedrun.com. So I was like, I might as well stream it as well. And then COVID hit, and I said, I'm done working at my corporate job I hate.
Yep.
Why don't I try being a full-time content creator? And it's been 5 years. So
you've been full-time for 5 years.
Full-time for 5 years, and I still have a day job because it's rough out in these streets. But yeah, I've been making my own YouTube content, doing all my own editing, streaming as much as I possibly
nice.
can.
Respect.
Etc. Yeah, dude,
it's hard. It's a lot.
I'm watching your videos and I'm like, can I do that? And then I click buttons and I go, I cannot do that.
Oh, no. You can't be. You can do part-time YouTube if you do those kind of videos, I think.
I am hoping that I get to a point in my career where I could hire Frosty to be my editor for YouTube. So
Frosty, hit me up with your rates. I'd love to know what they are looking like.
Yeah. I mean, if my boss catches me, it's like working on my YouTube videos at work, which maybe I do or I don't do. There'll be a day where I am forced into doing this full time.
I see. You might need gainful employment. I see.
Yup.
Macro, I'm told to ask because you tell people to ask about your accent.
Yeah. So, like I said, my name's Mako. I'm from Boston. I live about 10 minutes north of Boston. You can park your car in Harvard Yard and all that. Actually, real quick, nobody parks in Harvard Yard. You can't park there. It's a closed area. You can only go in there if you're an event coordinator, but you can park out on the street.
Is your favorite movie Good Will Hunting? Tell the truth.
Good Will Hunting is not my favorite movie. My favorite movie would be the Goofy movie, the Disney original, because it has the most baller soundtrack. No, but I grew up in a place on the North Shore of Boston that has like a really, really hard accent. And I eventually had to learn to not talk like that because oddly enough, people can't understand you. So now I have my great articulating voice.
It's pretty good. Your articulating voice, you've gone down pat.
It is good.
In college, I had someone with that particular accent say, they're going to go get their roommate. And I was like, oh, it's like your drinking buddy? And then they look at me like, no, my roommate. I'm like, what? Like, what? And they're like, roommate. I'm like, oh, okay.
Now it makes sense.
I can see how it's hard to understand sometimes.
I don't think I've ever said roommate. We say like, I don't know. We say a couple things weird, but like we don't say roommate. That's ridiculous.
Maybe it was like a 2006 slang term.
Right.
Don't know. Maybe it was his roommate. But okay, either way, do you have any hobbies that aren't video games?
Man, they're all just different forms of escapism. So the biggest thing right now is I'm a LARPer. I go LARPing, live action role playing. It's like playing D&D, but in the woods.
I love the movie Role Models. Have you seen the movie Role Models?
Role Models is like, that's usually meant to be like role models, but you're like, they did a pretty good job with that. Like the laps that I go to are significantly higher quality than role models, but unironically, they captured a lot of like the generally skeezy dudes, the kind of cringiness of it. People take it a little bit too seriously. People don't take it seriously enough. But that's probably my biggest hobby. That magic.
Okay, wait. But where do you find yourself in the too serious, not serious enough? Where do you plant yourself?
live action roleplay is unironically like the biggest passion that I have in my life. So I love the fact that everybody just kind of comes together and says like, we all agree this is happening. Now let's help each other get to experience these different stories as well as we can. So I take it fairly. I've been LARPing for like 14 years now. My dad was a LARPer back in the day. That like I grew up on those stories.
What's your LARPing name?
It depends on what game I'm at. Right now I'm playing a character named Kel Rainier. He's just your average blue collar healer / water mage. He's from a little city on the water. He's a mercenary. He's not a very smart guy, but he's trying to learn how to travel the planes of the different elements. And he keeps trying to do it in stupid ways, like inventing a submersible boat. That's not a thing in that world, but maybe I need that.
That's pretty cool. Yeah. That is cool.
Do you go into a random wooded area, or is it a specific area? Like, where do you go? Like, you're not trying to dox or anything. Just is it like?
And how many people? Like, how many are on each side? Sorry, go.
So there's a lot of different types of live action roleplay. I go to campaign stories where there's an entire crew of people that create a world and then run an event. So they have storylines and arcs that you go through. So it's not really how many people are against each other. It's basically like a production staff that puts on a story that you come improv and be a part of. So you go there for a whole weekend. I'm that character 24/7 while I'm there. Unless I'm in the cabin, shooting the shit with my buddies. But like I go to events where there's 100 players and 30 to 50 staff members.
Nice. That sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, it does. Did you play a ton of Diablo 3?
You know what? My story with Diablo 3 started like many people's stories. They had one of the best like guerrilla marketing campaigns with that website where it was slowly like the ice was like melting and cracking. I bought it early release. I had to go down to a local GameStop to pick it up. I was mostly trying to play it because my ex at the time was going to play it too, and I was trying to get back together with her. And I played it for about a month or two. I played a monk back when it started, and I kind of fell off of it, and I didn't come back until like season 23. I played a whirlwind barbarian. I kind of just like followed the build guide on Maxroll and played with some Maxroll buddies, and then I never really got into the game fully. I think it's a great game. It just wasn't my personal favorite.
Got it.
All right. Now, you've talked about being a warlock in World of Warcraft. Was that right?
Yes, sir.
And you basically are a necromancer now. That archetype seems to be like your go-to archetype. Well, why is this? What draws you to that?
It isn't, and that's the weird part. No, you know what it is like in Diablo 2, I play every single character. In fact, the Barbarian is probably my favorite class in Diablo 2 because I really love a Singer Barbarian build. But the thing that brings me to the Necromancer is I just thought it was going to be wicked popular. I didn't even make the connection between Warlock and Necromancer. Turns out it isn't. And after putting 2,000 hours into a single class in Diablo 4, I figured I'd kind of just stick with it.
2,000?
At least 2,000 on just that character. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's a lot of hours. When you were growing up, were you a console or PC guy?
I was a Porque No Los Dos master race as far as I'm concerned. So I grew up on consoles, but my dad worked, he started in IT back when you could just get like a Microsoft certificate and go work for companies. So I built my first at-home computer when I was 8. Like unironically by hand, like he and I built it together. I used to have to go through DOS prompt to like boot up floppy disk games. Mm-hmm. But when I wasn't playing EverQuest, I was playing Grand Theft Auto, or I was playing Fable, or I was playing the Magic the Gathering game for, Xbox 360, which is actually pretty hype. But I've always been both mostly. Nowadays, I really only have like a Switch in my computer.
When you think about PC, is there that like, this was my first PC game experience? For me, it was Red Alert. That like hooked me on PC forever. That was my game. Do you have that game that, I love this?
So the answer is yes. It's just a game that basically nobody has played. It was called Fairy Tales. You played as it was like a top-down
click action adventure game where you were three brothers that started off in this little hometown, and then you walked outside and just goblins and skeletons and brigands just absolutely annihilated you. And I spent, it feels like years of my life trying to figure out how to be good in that game.
Okay.
I ironically found like an infinite gold glitch even when I was a little kid. That was kind of funny.
That's hilarious.
It still works today, fun fact, but it was a phenomenal game, and like nobody else has played it. But that's the thing that I think about when I'm like, this is video gaming on a computer.
Yeah, my PC games were very popular. The three I just kept going between were StarCraft Brood War, Diablo II, and the old school Counter-Strike.
So unoriginal, Frosty.
I know. Well, StarCraft was pretty... Nah.
By the way, why are people saying you're shaving your head? Are you shaving your head, Frosty?
Oh, yeah, I got a big forehead here. Look at this. What?
I don't know. Some people were saying that's Frosty shaving his head. I don't know.
Well, okay. Well, actually, it's weird. I never mentioned this, but I have like a bump on my head that
Yeah.
I'm thinking about getting removed, and they're like, "We have to shave your head," and I'm like, "All right." So that might happen. So, like either that or I have like a big patch here, like removed.
Well, you could
and,
just AI hair back on you. No one will notice.
I'll just wear like that hat that I have.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Can I commiserate with you, buddy? I've had 2 bumps removed from my face. One from this cheek.
Oh,
and one
dude,
from
right
this
here?
side of my head. Yeah.
That's exactly what I have. I had one here when I was a lot younger, and then I have one right here, and I was about 18, and like the dermatologist was like, we're going to shave your head. And back when I was 18, I was about to go to college, and I'm like, nah, I don't want to look like an asshole or something with like a random shaved head. And I said no, it'll be fine. And it was really tiny, and now it's kind of like a Diablo horn at this point. But yes,
because like our birthdays are one day apart. We've had non-cancerous cysts in different parts of our faces that share the same locations.
It's weird.
Are you me in the future? Is this what
possibly
happens?
I mean, like your glasses are slightly larger than mine. We're completely
Slightly
different. We have the same
And
like
you're both Diablo
forehead.
4 super fans that you can't.
Shit.
Like, I mean,
Probably like alternate universe.
Macro, what game are you looking forward to that hasn't released yet? Is there anything out there like, man, can't wait to get my hands on this? And you can't say PoE 2. Everyone says PoE 2. Other than that,
But it's like ironic if I say PoE 2 because I'm a Diablo 4 super fan.
It's overrated.
So
wait, Diablo 4 or PoE? Which one's overrated?
PoE.
I see.
PoE's complexity is a little bit overrated, but now that I've actually gotten into the game, I really, really appreciate what it's doing. I can't wait to get back to the campaign. I'm in Act 6 right now. I've never completed the campaign, so I'm excited to do that. But God, what game that will be coming out? Oh, the Hollow Knight, the Hollow Knight sequel.
Hollow Knight sequel. Now I'm looking it up.
Hold on, y'all are Hollow Knight fans, right? Hold on, this is an important question.
I've not played Hollow Knight.
No, I don't.
I hear
play
it's a
Hollow
great
Knight.
game. I don't have anything against it.
Bro, Silk
Too busy
Song.
playing World of Warcraft to play Hollow Knight.
Silk Song is
I'm
Hollow.
looking at it
Hollow
right
Knight
now.
sequel.
Silk Song.
And it's like the Duke Nukem Forever of indie side-scrolling Metroidvania Souls-likes, which is hard to put all those words together. Hollow Knight's just a phenomenal game, and it's the sequel that's supposed to be coming out for Grip, and basically we're always waiting on new news from that. But right now, I'm waiting to have some downtime so I can go play Shadows of the Erdtree, the expansion for Elden Ring. I love Elden Ring. And I am looking forward to PoE 2, unironically. But like,
You're not allowed to use that answer.
Okay, Diablo 5. What do you want from me, boss?
There we go.
Well, you can't use that answer.
What? Okay. What? Last Epoch?
Now you've gotten to the. No, I'm
There
just
we
kidding.
go.
I'm just kidding. No, that's cool.
That released, right? Like it's officially released?
Yeah, it
Epoch?
released February 21st. I mean, I don't know the date. I don't remember when it came out. Yeah,
It's not tattooed on him anywhere.
It's on this hoodie somewhere. What else you got, Mr. LaRue?
Well, I got a few random questions here. So I heard you were a parkour instructor. Can you tell us a little bit about that? How did that even start?
I wanted to have friends in college, and I always thought that I was very agile because I used to like climb trees and stuff. And a buddy of mine was one of the charter members for the parkour club at the university that I attended. I joined up with that. Everybody else sucked at being a teacher and was mostly just like absolutely faded out of their minds to teach anybody stuff. So I ended up having to teach the new kids if we wanted to get funding to stay as a group. We did some awesome stuff. Like we were invited to a Red Bull Art of Motion competition in Boston, where they basically set up a parkour course all over Government Center, which is like our main town hall area. And they just like set up like broken down cars and cranes, and some of like the best of the best Trissias at the time came out and performed. It was amazing. But it's just kind of like a cool urban acrobatics.
Can you run up a wall and backflip?
I can, yeah. I could do a backflip off of you. I can do something called a gainer, which is a backflip but going forward, which is a little bit fun to try to figure out centrifugally. But like I used to do a lot more stuff in it. Nowadays, it's more so just like if there's a fence I don't like, I don't have to walk around it. I just go over it.
Nice. Is there any footage of you doing parkour, and is it available online?
Oh my God, probably. If you look up UMass parkour from around 2010 to 2011, I think I'm in one of the jam sessions there, but I don't remember. I would have to try to dig it up. I have it on like my
I might dig it up.
I'm already looking.
You go ahead and dig it up.
What year?
It's like between 2009 and 2012.
All right. While you look that up, have you have any stories about any bad injuries you or other people have gotten?
Oh, my first day training it, I irreparably destroyed the cartilage in my ankle.
Oh no!
First day, and I didn't realize it for like 2 years actually.
Yeah.
So basically, there's something called a precision, where you jump from one place to another place and you land without moving. So typically, you'll see people do this on like really high up railings and scary ledges. And I was trying to precision from one side of a bike rack to the other side of the bike rack, which is like a very tight little jump. And the way that I landed, instead of my foot landing like this, like it should, I landed like this because it was up at an angle and like kind of sprained my ankle. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, that kind of hurts. And then for 2 years, anytime I would start running, my ankle would explode in pain like somebody just hit me with a baseball bat. So finally, I went and got it looked at, and I had like permanently scarred the cartilage in that part of my foot. And it's just like, it's just bad now. I just have shitty ankles.
There is 16 videos from UMass parkour. We are going to look at this together and tell me which one you're in.
Okay, sure. I'll do my best.
Yes. This is going to be
It probably has copywritten music in it, so you might want to mute it.
Oh, he's already done with.
Oh yeah, I don't care. I already gave up all that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, then we probably are playing some.
Without exaggeration, 90% of my streams they just take the revenue from.
Oh yeah,
I don't care anymore.
Watching Gamescom yesterday, it's like, hey, we're demonetizing you.
Oh yeah, yeah, they're all.
Thanks YouTube. Thanks. I didn't want to make money. That's okay.
When I stream, people will send me like, Aaron, have you seen this game? We always watch trailers and stuff, so I just don't care as much. This is awesome. I'm excited to watch these parkour videos. What happened to this podcast, Frosty? What have you done to it?
I had to ask.
No, I know.
It's a pretty interesting question. It's a pretty interesting hobby.
It really is an interesting hobby.
Yeah, most of us video gamers, we're just like, we walk up a few flights of stairs, we brag about it, and you're just jumping off buildings.
A front backflip is quite impressive. Moving forward and doing a backflip, that's very impressive. That is very impressive.
Thanks. I appreciate that.
I've got a million Diablo questions. I figured we can answer all these.
I have a million Diablo questions too.
I mean, I've got a million of them, but I don't know. We can watch the video together when we go through those, or we could go through some of them now. I don't know.
Yeah, I say we go through a little now that aren't related to the video. So I'll just start off by saying, like, what do you wish they would add to Diablo? I know there's probably a million things. Like, for example, I want like a sell all button, or I don't know, a loot filter.
There's I don't care about loot filters, cry more babies, but the thing that I do like legitimately want, well, one, they're adding in the group finder. I guess spoilers, they're adding in a group finder, which is like required in this game from day one. So I'm super glad it's making it in.
Breaking NDA already, I see.
I guess my Gamescom non-existent NDA, yes. But no, you know what? I want an in-game auction house. Whenever I say that, people are like, no, Diablo 3, there was real. No, hey, real quick. auction houses exist without real money, wouldn't it be cool if you could just trade your item in game for gold?
Yes.
Wouldn't that be sick? That's
What?
That's what
Yeah, that would be sick.
There's auction houses in so many games that are successful, and like people going to a third-party site is not fun. Like I would love to just trade. I don't do it because I don't want to go to a third-party site. So I just throw it on the ground or I'd sell it for like 20 gold.
Shout out Crimson Market. Sorry. Go on. Anything you wish Necro got? So you put in 2,000 hours to Necro. Is there something like, good God, why don't we have this?
Mobility. Very early on, the developers said, it's kind of outside of the theming of the class and the aesthetic of the class for it to be a fast character. We want certain builds to be good at certain things, but we're talking about an action RPG where movement speed is the key contributor to your overall efficiency. That's just true.
Yep.
And their reluctance to add mobility to the Necromancer in a meaningful way has been one of the biggest pain points for myself personally. You so often have to sacrifice even putting a mobility aspect on your boots for more damage because the class is also particularly weak. So it's just like you can't physically fit it onto the build, and then you watch a sorceress infinite teleport, at 30,000 billion parsecs a second. And it's just like, I can't even a little bit teleport. Could I run a little fast?
I couldn't imagine. What was it like for you playing season 1, 2, and 3? Because really Necro came into its own in season 4, correct?
So like yes and no. The interesting part about the history of the class is that in season 0 and season 1, the Necromancer was one of the only classes that you could legitimately go kill Uber Lilith on, only because Bone Spear was kind of cracked out of its gourd, and then we got the Barber Heart. What that kind of did, though, was morphed the overall narrative of the Necromancer, and it's just kind of gotten nerfed over that run of time. And then very recently, they're like, what if the really bad builds were better? And I'm like, sick, that's awesome.
Yeah.
It's like,
because
well,
Necro basically just became a spell casting.
Yeah,
class.
It's basically right now in season 5, you can do Bone Spirit, Blood Surge, or Cry. Those are kind of your 3 options, which is a very different landscape than even like a season or 2 ago, where there was a lot more you could do at a reasonably high level.
Okay. Frosty, what else you got?
I have a lot about mercenaries and other things, but so that we'll talk about shortly. But I did like what they did with season 4 and Rogue. I used to not be able to play any ranged Rogue classes. They're just all twisting blades for 3 seasons, and then I'd switch to Rogue ranged, and it was just like, well, it sucked. And then I ended up quitting and playing like another class. But yeah, all I'm saying is I liked the changes. I like that I can go range rogue now, even though they're not like sorcerer is right. Everyone's like a sorcerer who wants to like do like end game stuff. I'm hoping they somehow can buff more than one class to be the super meta ultimate class in next season, because right now I don't know if anyone holds a candle to a sorcerer, or maybe it's because I don't have Endarials, but this isn't a question. This is just me ranting.
Yeah, what are you talking about?
No, it's just me ranting. It's not even a question. I'm sorry. We can talk about mercenaries.
Moving on to our extra screen.
There we go.
And what do we have on our extra screen? UMass Parkour. Is this bringing back memories?
Parkour.
Look at this.
It sure is, dude.
Are you in this picture?
That one right there. I'm the guy in blue. I had the really douchey faux hawk.
That's you?
Yeah, that was a great time. You can click that one.
Top right?
Yeah, in the top right. Get me in there. Get the boy.
Did you click on it?
Yeah. Isn't this it?
All right, go.
Yeah,
wait, it was the top
There
right.
he is.
Already.
That's
So,
you.
delayed.
This is you.
yeah, that's me. Yeah.
Mark.
So I'm not gonna dox everybody here, but basically these were all like my best friends in college. I lived with half of these guys. Shout outs to all of them. I love them. You got Frachero there over in the tank top on the left. He's a YouTuber as well. But this was kind of our, so you want to like join the club? Come on in. We're just in my buddy's flat. We're probably drunk off our asses right now. There's a banana because
I was like, there's a banana and there's Monster in it right here.
Yeah, a Monster, a banana. I think we're doing fireball shots here, which is, or I'm sorry, icy hots, which is peppermint schnapps.
You're not jumping around in that one. Blue.
Scroll down a little bit.
There's 6.
Maybe that bottom left one.
This one?
Ain't easy. Maybe. Just click it. Just click it. I'll be in some part of somewhere. Here we go. That's nice. Nice pile of horse dookie. We love that down in Southwest. Yeah, but this is just like what we would go do. Like, you know, just like, yeah.
Nice.
Dude,
slow motion.
Dude, I love the fisheye on it. Yeah, this is just like what we did. The funny part about doing stuff like this is we eventually made our way to like a gymnastics gym, you know, like with crash mats and the jumpy floors and all of that. And we're talking to the kids there, and they're like, well, where do you guys normally train? And we're like, oh, at our university. And they're like, but like where? We're like, outside? Where else would you train? And they're like, but like on concrete? I'm like, yeah, where else would you train? And apparently people didn't do this outside back when we were doing this outside. So
Are any of those people you?
I don't think so. No, I'm looking at them. The resolution is so bad. But I
It
could
says
do,
HD on it though.
but I could do that. Yeah,
No problem.
that
Okay.
one. That one's called a cache. I could do that. Oh
That's
my
not
God,
you
look at
right
these
there?
babies. No, that's my buddy Scott. Scott was a maniac. I love him. No, that one's not it. Let me try to. I'll try to look it up. I don't want to waste your time with this. I'll try to. Find
All right, fine. That's fun. See, that's more fun than watching this. Not that there's anything wrong with Diablo 4. I didn't mean that. I'd rather watch you jump around. That sounds weird. All right, here we go, everybody. We are moving on to the extra screen. This is part 2 of the Town Portal podcast. We got a couple of things queued up right now. We've got the video that was released from Blizzard on Diablo 4 Vessels of Hatred inside the game. This is literally the meat and potatoes of the expansion, and we thought maybe we can get Mr. Macro to break NDA, so that's the plan here. We've got a video for the early access trailer for Path of Exile 2, and then I just have queued up all the games for Gamescom. So we'll see how far we get, starting with Vessels of Hatred. Oh,
found the video.
which is very loud.
In Vessel of Hatred, we travel south to Nahantu, a region with both
Hey, Frosty, should we just skip to the mercenaries part? This beginning part is the 6
Yeah.
new areas and all the enemies. Should we just jump to
I
mercenaries?
mean, look, there's some great graphics, there's some cool zones. It's nice that there's not just jungle, that there's some like red rock areas.
I really like
The new-
this area. I put that in my video. I was like, from a visual, the red rock looks really, really nice. I actually wasn't expecting that.
to the lighting.
There's like a new monster type that have people like basically stacking on top of each other. They're not exactly fetishes from Diablo 2, but they're probably the closest that we've seen to them.
Yeah.
Other than that, yeah, we can skip.
really lovely to be there. And then horror.
in
I like
Vessel
them.
of
They were
Hatred
like
binary
war
skills.
boys
They-
from Mad Max mixed with
Yes.
the
Ease, you have
psychos
to
from
go-
Borderlands. I really
Starts
like
with
their
we're here.
design.
Now, Macro, do you think it is possible that they said, hey, this is how we're going to put in the paladin?
Yeah, he's like very paladin-esque, right? The interesting part is they unironically, and this isn't like me breaking NDA, this is something I noticed with them playing the game once it released. They have a paladin class with paladin skills that are one-to-one recreations of the shield slam charge abilities from Diablo 2. The character Vigo, when like the beginning of the story, he's the dude who sacrifices himself and puts himself in like the knight penitent armor. He's unironically using paladin skills from Diablo 2.
How
I was
interesting.
like, oh, there you go.
You're right.
There he is. He's the paladin class. And then they released this guy, and I'm like, wait, that's the paladin class. All right, sure.
Okay.
That was one of my thoughts, though, was this idea that these were all possible classes that they were like, let's actually scrap them from mercenaries because they seem very well developed as concepts.
And that kind of seems like, I don't want to say the joke, but it's like we don't have Diablo and we don't have a Paladin Crusader, but actually we kind of do in the form of mercenaries now.
Do they have specific class names, or there's no names attached to them yet?
They do have names, right? So the barbarian is the crone, the kid is the demon kid or something. Like they do have
Demon
names.
Kid,
yeah, it's demon kid, old drunk archer man.
Are we going to be able to custom name them?
That's my question. Is there going to be a drop down list? And can I go get Emilio? Can I go
Yes.
get Ip? Can I get Bill?
Wahid.
Wahid, my boy. Gulzar. Those are the people I want.
Also, do they die?
Oh, I doubt it.
I
In the
haven't seen
gameplay, I
any
didn't
life.
see a health bar.
Yeah, I didn't see that either.
Like D2 had mercenaries die, and you had to spend a lot of gold, and it kind of sucked. And then D3 they died, but then they just came back on like a cooldown. If they do die, they'll be back pretty quickly. They're not going to make it worse than Diablo 3.
Yeah, that's kind of my thought. All right, let's watch a little more. This is the first mercenary, the Paladin.
Blacksmith and a shield bearer is a more defensive fighter.
He's able to go in there and soak up damage, use his
Throws a
shield as a
shield.
bulwark against
Come
the
on.
enemy.
You meet him
That's
early
a
on in the
paladin.
campaign, and he's one who
Yeah.
introduces you to the mercenary network. You end up finding acquisition quests for 3 other mercs that you can find throughout the course of the story.
So you have to play the new chapter campaign to unlock mercenaries, right?
There's going to be some things that are available to people who haven't bought the expansion, but I don't know what those are.
Because you hear what I'm saying, right? He says very specifically you encounter him in the campaign, and then there's other quests to unlock the other mercenaries. But there's no way they're going to make existing players play through the original campaign, which would lead you to believe that it's the new campaign for Season 6, which then would require the DLC. Am I... No? Yay?
I feel like it's detailed in the blog post. I feel like I read this thing.
Yeah.
But now I can't remember.
Okay.
Tubo, the drunken archer,
We don't
is
know.
going to
So this is the second mercenary, and this is the
Oh, yeah.
drunken archer, who also throws fire bombs or something like that.
work really well for people who want someone who's out of the main melee, in the back, offering
Trying to make
utility
rain of
and that
arrows
kind
a
range
thing.
support.
Right?
Then we have Ariana, a berserker crone, who's a melee combat fighter, close
Love this art
range.
so much.
Really
It's like very Darkest Dungeon.
I like Darkest Dungeon.
cool.
This one's got the
combat meter,
massacre
a
counter,
massacre
right?
meter where you need
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I thought Massacre
bringing that
Meter is
back.
cool, but my brain immediately always thinks about single target. So like boss kills, where obviously you're not going to have a Massacre Meter. So maybe this is good for leveling or clearing dungeons or hell tides, but or pit. But I don't know how it would do against a boss.
Yeah. So if it's like D3, it's like, what, like an experience bonus?
I think it's a damage like when she hits a certain massacre, she like explodes with fury, or I don't know, something like that.
Oh, it's specific to that mercenary?
Yeah.
to keep
Okay.
killing enemies to
Macro knows all this crap. He's already probably played all of them. He knows everything.
He's just
Oh, for
contemplating in
sure.
his head what has been
For sure,
released and what
definitely.
has not been released.
That is unironically my life most of the time. Not to flex, it is the worst thing ever. I'll hear somebody just be like, "Oh, what about this concept?" And I'm like,
Oh,
"Where'd
yeah.
you hear that? Who said that to you?" Like,
So
wasn't
somebody
it
in
an-
chat did say they did say you need to do the new campaign to unlock the mercenaries. But is the new campaign only available to DLC players? So you can't answer that either.
No. All right. Well, speaking of things you can't answer, I'm going to stare at your face while I ask this question. And
All right,
don't
yeah.
even answer it. Don't even answer it. I've been waiting for them to talk about new abilities for each class that isn't the Spiritborn. Now, we all know those are confirmed, right, Macro? Okay, we can go on.
I think they did say in a campfire chat that like bare minimum each class is getting a new
Oh, good.
skill. But
Good.
I
If they
don't,
didn't, then sweet.
The thing is, like, unironically, I have not seen that type of content. You know, I'll just like say that straight out. They were like, "Oh, you played the Spiritborn. What about the other classes?" I'm like, "No, I played the Spiritborn. I went there. I played Spiritborn. You watched me do it. I did it for about 4 or 5 hours, you know, off stream. That's what I did when I went there. So sadly, I didn't see any of the other classes. But like, they have to have new skill trees, right? Right?
I
At least
don't
new
know.
abilities. They did it in
know.
all. Yeah.
Adam
Me too.
Jackson's answer about the skill trees on the last Fireside, where he was talking about, I wish we can be, you know, make them more customized. Like there's plans for the distant future. I was like, ugh, I didn't like that answer. Okay, moving on.
Meter to be filled.
She's got a bunch of really interesting utility skills that you can kind of build in.
Finally, we have the demon child Aldkin, who's a magic user who can transform himself.
Oh, you're right,
It's
Demon Child.
Diablo. Diablo made it into Diablo.
That's a
from
Diablo
human
right
form
there.
to demon form and join you in combat.
There's this really great reinforcement ability where you can take one of the
Okay,
mercenary
yes,
skills and
the
attach.
reinforcement
Okay,
abilities.
I
These
will
are cool.
say this is smart. So, for anybody that doesn't know, your 6 skills, you can assign a skill to your reinforcement, and then when you click that skill, it automatically uses your mercenaries ability with a 15-second cooldown, so that you know when you need your mercenaries ability, you just hit that skill on your bar, and it goes off. It's pretty smart.
And
Because it
you
would
can
suck.
even-
I like that because then it's
Yeah.
not another button to push. I think that's a good
You
idea.
can assign a different mercenary other than the one you have out to those as well. Also, they can be triggered on something like when you get CC'd, they can help you get out of CC. And I believe these will be active even in groups when just the party leader has the mercenary, which I might have a problem with, but I'll talk a little bit more about that at the end of the mercenary section.
Wait a second. Are you telling me that you can hot swap mercenaries for the situation?
No,
Like,
they'll be attached to something like activate on CC or activate on rapid fire. Then you'll have your mercenary that you've selected to have out. But let's say you have the demon boy as your main mercenary,
Yeah.
he's out. But then you have like the barbarian cannibal lady attached to your rapid fire. You can do that.
it's kind of interesting.
it to one of your powers so that when you use that skill, it calls them in to do a specific skill.
I love this. It's like
mercenaries for
it's like
vessel.
Marvel vs. Capcom, where like you do your special ability and your second swap in dude jumps in. It's Spider-Man. And you just like web sling somebody.
Okay, Macro, you're not going to believe me. That's what I was just thinking about like 10 seconds ago. It's exactly
dude, the
what I was
wavelengths.
thinking about. It's
Am I
exactly
the
what I was
third
thinking.
host of Town Portal and we just didn't know it?
I
I'm
know.
just saying.
I always kept Cyclops because Cyclops jumping in was the best.
Magneto.
One of the things we are expanding on is the skill tree. For Diablo 3, you had a very basic
So looking at this skill tree, Macro, blink twice if this is correct. It's basically what they show, but you basically have 4 options. So you get 1. So option 1, option 2, option 3, option 4. So it'd be like 1, 1, 1, 1. There, you can't put multiple points per skill. That's the skill tree for mercenaries.
From what I can tell right now, it's you pick one of 2 primary modes,
Yep.
and then you pick the augment for it, and then you pick the advanced skill and its augment.
Yeah.
From what I've seen that you are also currently looking at, that's what I've sussed out.
Okay.
It,
But-
it looks to me like just 2. Like you get the left and right side, and you bring it all the way down to the bottom of the tree for each side. So like,
But you
just
get an
2.
option each way. So here you have 1 option. Here, or 2 options. Here you have 2 options. Here you have 2 options. Here you have 2 options.
Yeah.
So you could go like left, right, left. You know, like you could. So
Oh, I love the left, right, left wild kid build. That's my favorite. Left, right, left is probably top
that's
tier.
the best. What if I went this way and this way? Huh? You probably can't. It probably locks you in a path. Yeah, that makes sense. But you can't. You're not going to have multiple points like you see in a normal skill tree where I could put 5 in here. Like that's not there. It's just 1.
I wouldn't
type
think
of
so.
mercenary, but this time you can actually push a little bit more into the skill tree and make the mercenary the way you would want to play.
Going
You
through
see that shield charge right there?
each mercenary progression arc and outfitting their skill tree so that
Someone in chat. So many skills. I hope they don't lose players because it's so complex. It's stupid.
That's complementary to your character build. I think that's where the fun in the mercenary system really lies.
Okay, stop.
Okay, this is raids, right?
Before
That's the
we
way
get
I
into that,
looked
let's
at it.
just finish mercenary talk. I got a few things I want to
Okay,
say.
yeah, we can go into mercenaries.
Yeah, well, first off, I'm a little concerned about mercenaries in Diablo, just because what happened in Diablo 3, where they were fine for a while, and like you'd have them in your party, and then you specifically when you group up in co-op, they just went away, and it was fine until they came out with. Eventually, they just kept trying to beef them up, and it's like, here's emanating powers. You get like double shrines. They spawn elites. You get double death breaths and rift shards and all that stuff. And then when you have your friend join, your mercenaries go away. You lose all that power, all the perks, and the mobs have double health. So it felt bad to even group up. I don't want that to be the case in this version of mercenaries. And it's already saying that you can only have one mercenary in a group, and it's the party leaders.
Wait, am I going to comment, or do you want Macro to comment? Can he even talk about it?
I don't know.
So, my understanding was that once you had a full party, you didn't even have mercenaries. Are they saying that the group gets to keep a single
The party
mercenary?
leader gets to keep it, yeah.
That's so weird. I can't even imagine why it would work that way.
The on-field mercenary might be able to do things like proc bleed or stun or something, so you don't have to have your character do it, but like that just helps that specific build of that character. Unless you have like a whole group of people that like benefit off fighting someone who has a bleed effect on them. I don't know. A little concerned.
I don't want to say concern, but my surprise is that instead of your mercenary having gear that you equip, because sometimes you'll find something and it's like, well, this sucks for me, but this would be awesome for my mercenary. They didn't go that route. I don't think you actually have gear for your mercenary. You just have a skill tree, which means basically Maxroll puts out, here's the best mercenary for Necro, and then literally everyone just has the same mercenary. Like that's, it becomes not as fun when like, you have to do it one way. That's my concern.
That's my biggest concern. We're saying concern a lot here, but I'm fully in the camp of, I think that mercenaries in these games are bad. I get flamed for it all the time because you have to remember I come from Diablo 2, where like the mercenary was everybody's kind of only friend while they were soloing.
It was a Band-Aid fix too, though.
But it was like, that's the thing that people can't separate from the idea of what makes ARPGs function and their personal experience playing a game with nostalgia. It's that the mercenary was a bandage that ultimately became so important that builds didn't work until your mercenary was wearing a single weapon, like in the case of Infinity for elemental skills. So I don't want that to be the case here. The other side of it, though, is if they are going to be here, I hope that the skill tree isn't just they do vulnerable for you and they give you damage reduction.
That was the first thing I saw, is that the paladin can make enemies slow. I was like, oh, that's great. Like that's just, that alone is a benefit for so many different things.
And it's going to very quickly become, this is the mercenary combo that you use for this build to activate this thing, so you don't have to. And I hope it's more than that, just because it's kind of like a one and done, set it and forget it, and I don't find that particularly compelling. So I'm hoping it gets bigger.
Something I feel like they could do is like, this mercenary has a benefit where it pulls everything together, which is great for infernal hordes, or this mercenary is like gives you tons of movement speed, which is good for like the pit. Something like that might be good, but then it's still like, you use this for pit, you use this for infernal hordes. I don't know what they would do to make it so it's just really just up to you. I don't think it's ever really going to be like that, though.
Thinking out loud right now, mercenaries actually feel like they just reskinned the construct from season 3. They had like a little skill tree kind of where you found the little things to put into it. And
it's a follower.
Right? I unironically liked that little robot dude just because there was interesting combinations that you could do with it to fit very particular niches. It was too powerful, but I find that more compelling, where it was kind of like the plug in 3 different options on both sides, and this kind of determines its AI. I actually really liked that.
Yeah, actually, the construct, you're right, is more complex than this, because the construct basically had like glyphs, where this just has a set skill tree left or right.
It's like the rare drop system for constructs almost made it feel better than I think the mercenary just being like, here you go, you level it like 8 times, you just get the cookie cutter build and you're set, you're good to go. There's no other like thing you have to do for your mercenary. But we could all be wrong. Who knows?
Right.
Macro knows. He knows. What are you talking about?
You only played Spiritborn.
So let me very quickly try to sell all of us on this concept.
Okay.
Because I do think it goes a little bit deeper when it is you get to tie effects to your skills. I actually think that is an interestingly different enough thing from the construct itself, where it's like, okay, I have this merc. This merc is going to be my tank, and it's going to handle this aspect for me. And then I'm going to put the weird little demon kid on my bone spear. And now when I do bone spear, the weird demon kid is going to apply burning, which is something I can't normally do. And now things like creeping death that says, that's crowd control effects. The one that says based off of how many different types of damage over time effects you get those types of explosions. It's like, oh, okay, now I can add this damage feature to my build in a meaningful way. I think that has a lot of good potential. I just want it to be that complex. I don't want it to be very simple.
Okay.
I hope so.
What's your favorite one? If right now that you can only use one, which one do you think would be the best, or what you would want to play first?
Weird demon kid, because he reminds me from Vincent from Final Fantasy VII.
What about you, Aaron?
Paladin.
Bow lady for me, because I just like the bow class the best.
It's a drunk guy.
Whatever. I'm not trying to assume anything. It's 2024.
He's drunk.
2024.
All right,
He does have the
Definitely
I'm drunken sad backstory. It's like, man, that sucks actually.
I mean, that's literally the first thing they say. Drunk guy. I don't know. You're right.
The Dark Citadel.
All right, we are moving on to the Dark Citadel, also known as Raid. Raids in D4.
Is a new in-game feature that's coming in Vessel of Hatred. It's an entirely cooperative player experience. All the mechanics within it are based around you working together with your party.
Macro, have you played this? I'm not going to ask you anything about it. I'm just curious if you have experienced this.
Nah, dog. No idea.
Okay.
No idea.
To solve the challenges and face the first Khazra hordes within.
One of the outcomes of the Mage Wars. It's this giant crater and all the souls that were kind of lost in it from those wars.
The goal of the first Khazra, who are kind of the original Khazra, they're using the powers within the citadel found within this crater to perform experiments to try and bring back their dark god.
Only recently, people have started going missing. They head into the Khazra region, they disappear, never to be seen again. So it's clear that whatever they're planning is about to come to fruition, and your job as the players to get in there and stop it.
Citadels are a place where we take what is the best part of Diablo, combat, and we test it in a different way, which is adding in cooperative mechanics that you have to manage on top of that.
For example, a boss has an attack, and as a player, you have to collect an item that allows you to reflect the attack back at him. So there's a little bit of a Twitch level mechanic there where you actually have to time your reaction shot. What's interesting about it is when you get multiple people in there, we're each responsible for reflecting that shot once, so we all have
The reflect shot, there's a raid like that in Lost Ark. It's the exact first thing I think about. Is I don't know if you guys played Lost Ark.
No, I know what you're talking about. It was really, I think it was really hard in Lost Ark. I don't think they're going to do that here.
Hard.
But it did say that you're each responsible for reflecting once. So this is like a mandatory group kind of situation, right?
So it is mandatory. They said you need to have 2, but it's better with 4. And you can't have like one champion. So like I go in, I do everything, he's dead, and you guys get all the rewards. Like, no, everybody has to participate and communicate. So
you guys were talking about Lost Ark, because a lot of people are like, oh, this is just copying from this, it's just copying from that. The first time I had to reflect an orb back at a baddie, it was in Ocarina of Time, Legend of Zelda. So maybe everybody needs to get off of Zelda's game there, but I like that actually has mechanics, or reminds me a lot of World of Warcraft. These bosses look sick.
Yeah.
Like,
It does
visually.
World of Warcraft for sure. But yeah, Zelda Ocarina of Time copied Diablo 4, and everyone kind of knows that.
Yeah.
But,
No,
yeah.
for sure.
That's actually that's exactly what happened.
Have to sort of master the timing of that move. You can't do that kind of thing without coordinating as a team, and that's sort of the example of what Citadel gameplay feels like.
When designing the Citadel, we designed a lot of really cool bosses. And so one of the things that we did is we took that design and made like armor sets for each of the classes. That way you feel like you took their armor and you feel like you're...
I gave them a lot of credit for that. That is like pretty nice thinking. When you kill the boss, you can wear its armor, like you take it as a trophy, as a cosmetic. That's a pretty good idea. I like that one.
Yeah, add in-game cosmetic rewards for actually like some skill-based situations is very nice.
Yeah.
It's very Monster Hunter in that way.
Right.
You're wearing a little bit of them after your victory.
We also have a currency that's dedicated to the Citadel, where as you...
Have you guys seen this one?
What is that?
Scroll of Contained Goblins. Use while in a dungeon to summon a treasure goblin from another realm. 30-second cooldown. You can use this scroll to create treasure goblins. It's only up for literally like half a second on this video.
As you
I
play
did not
through,
catch that one.
Yeah.
I mean, all I want to do is see how many of those they'll let me bring in now, obviously. What
Right?
does another realm mean?
I know. Yeah.
That's awesome because I'm having a lot of trouble getting the hearts to fight the Varshan boss. So I know that they have a good chance of dropping those, and I need another way of getting those pretty quickly.
Oh, did you guys see the other sneak preview right there?
What is it?
There is something else on this screen that is different than the base game right now.
The experience bar.
No, not the experience bar. Although the experience bar is different.
Yeah, it's actually like photoshopped down the bottom left there.
Okay, inventory looks the same. These four.
Armor being super low and only 1,000 life.
No.
So
two
armor is
tabs.
super low, life is super low, attack power is super low. The character still has 1,400 strength in comparison to
noticed that,
66. There's a wardrobe icon next to the search magnifying glass.
Yeah.
And there are 2 sockets in the helmet.
Okay.
Everybody, there's 2 sockets in the helmet. I don't know how you didn't see that, Frosty.
There aren't currently 2 sockets in the regular helmet. That's a big deal. Like, what does that mean? Other
That
than
means
just to, like, enable more gems.
The loadout slots confirmed.
I like the wardrobe icon. That was like one of the things that I kind of like squeed about when I was offline. I was like, why is this here? Please give us loadouts.
Yeah, that's got to be loadouts. They can't be that into like make sure that your cosmetics change now because like everyone hates going back to town to change their cosmetics. Let's make a whole feature based on this. Let's spend a lot of like manpower and work hours to make sure this is a thing.
Man,
it's got to be more than that.
Loadouts would be awesome. I would love that. I would love that. Yeah, that would be cool.
As you play through, a vendor can be interacted with to buy custom cosmetics that are unique to the Citadel. You can
Also,
play
these
with 2
cosmetics
people.
look
Yeah, that's a really cool
sick.
necro.
Macro, you think rune words will ever come into D4? Is that like a future season theme?
I hope never. I hate rune words. I hate them so much. I really, really hope they never do, unironically.
But if they did seasonal theme and then they go away, not core.
That's what I was kind of thinking of is like, what if there was a seasonal quest where you make that class's rune word and it left behind like a unique item or something. And that's like basically how they introduced a new class unique. So it wasn't really a rune word, but you got to have the experience of making one. I thought that might be cool.
I'd be okay if they added runes into the game, not necessarily rune words, but like with Tyrael's
You have to have rune words. Everybody would riot if they entered runes without rune words.
Then maybe they can do that, but it would be like with Tyrael's might now, I don't need anything on my like rings or amulet. I just kind of leave them like naked. But like if they had runes and I can have something really fun to put into there, almost like season 1. But then you can do rune words. Like if you have these 3 runes equipped to your character, that could be a rune word instead of having the 3 runes attached to like just your chess piece.
Maybe
Right,
3
like,
runes, and then Macro gets a movement ability for Necro. There you go. See?
please, thank you.
See?
Yeah, like
But
kind of like
the
a
ideal-
set in that regard. I wouldn't hate that concept, but the idea of like, oh, I put these rune words in and now I can teleport like a sorceress. That's just again a bandage. Like that's
Yeah,
exactly
yeah.
what happened in
Oh my
D2,
God.
and it ruined item diversity completely.
I just wish they had a season in Diablo 2 Resurrected where everyone just got teleport or like it was removed, because it just felt like you just had to be sorcerer for so much of the content.
But you love Sorcerer.
Yeah, I know I did, but like I love the bow class slightly more, and I just felt like I could never go bow Amazon for 2 reasons. 1, because it didn't have teleport, and 2, because Javazon's just superior, and it upset me that bow wasn't as good.
I like Javazon as my favorite class.
Experiences for 4. In order to facilitate that, we've built an all-new Party Finder feature, and the community
Okay. This might be, again, it's not content right, but as far as quality of life, a needed feature in Diablo 4, like this might be the best thing coming for Vessels of Hatred right here.
100%.
Yeah.
Like you can create a party or look for a party. I don't know how many times like, hey, I got Duriel runs. I don't want to waste it. I need people that can come or who wants to group up. Like this is going to be huge for a lot of people.
There was a screenshot that they released where they had Torment 1 in their explanation of what you can queue up for a dungeon or a nightmare dungeon. So I'm not sure exactly what that meant either. I don't know if that's something to talk about, but it was part of the group finder situation. So I don't know. There's going to be a Torment 2 if they're listing Torment 1, and currently the only Torment in the game is World Tier 4's labeled Torment. So I don't know if it's going to be considered like if they're getting rid of 1 to 100 nightmare dungeons and they're calling it Torment and they're going to consolidate it that way, or they're adding like a World Tier 5. And the image is in the Wowhead link for parties if you wanted to pop it up.
I mean, if they were gonna, they've been teasing the concept of adding a new world tier forever, right? They had consolidated world tiers, and then if you're gonna add one, adding one in the expansion, I think makes sense. You know, if it's
I think that one more world tier would be fine, but never adding another. So basically a world tier for every 20 levels. If it stayed at 100 would be great, but I don't want 15. So they just...
I agree. I've seen some debate between everyone pretty much wants one more world tier. There are some people wanting 2, and I've not seen any more than that. And the second one would be like, you're at 100, you've beat maybe Lilith or something, or did 100 pit, and you've unlocked that. But I don't think it's necessary. It just needs one more world tier and have the difficulty actually be in the dungeons and pit itself. It doesn't need to be in the outer world.
That's kind of interesting to me, where it's like, I would really like to see them redivide up the progression and the difficulty of the game. So right now I hit level 25, I go to world tier 3 because I'm a necromancer with minions, and then I hit level 30, 34, and then I go to world tier 4. I die a couple times, so I go back and I get a weapon, and I go back to world tier 4, and then I'm level 85, and then the next day I hit 100, and it's just like, I know that helps the casual gamer to feel that progression more appropriately. I totally get that, no question. But if they just add one world tier and they just kind of re-extrapolate, that doesn't add that difficulty level to anything other than, like you just said, the pit and like the horde, right? You know, sometimes I like doing Legion events, and it would be cool if I didn't just like walk in, everything died, and then I got 3 chests at the end.
Oh yeah,
Those were,
it's
like
ridiculous.
some of my
Oh
favorite
my gosh, I
events back
hate
in the
doing
day.
legions. You just chase, like you're just running. It's just like a running simulator. Oh my gosh.
They did make world bosses not die in 1 second, but they did some like, it feels like an artificial increase in difficulty. Like something's going on where it's like we're not doing as much damage as I feel like we're doing. It's got like a damage received cap or something, because
it's
no matter
limiter.
what takes like 2 minutes to kill it.
It's like a hard speed limiter. You know, I walked up with a build doing 5 billion damage to tier 8 monsters, and I walk up to that dude and if I have all my buffs up, I can do 1 billion and his health bar doesn't move. I actually really hate what they did to the world boss, because it's not more difficult, it just takes longer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so I don't know. I don't really want them to do that with Legion events, and rather than just increase a world tier, like add a new world tier, make it harder, just in general.
Now that I think of it, if they add a new world tier, then they'll add another capstone, and I don't want to do another capstone. So I hope they don't do that or take those out of the game, because they're just annoying.
Community has been pretty vocal about wanting this for a long time. It made a lot of sense to us to
Wing
pair it with this
A.
new Citadel mode.
It
They
really
talk
is
about
an
it having
activity
multiple
that's
wings that you
geared
have to go
towards
through, and
people
like
who
you might like
love
do it
to
over
play
a week.
Right?
together with their friends or with strangers and enjoy that cooperative gameplay. I cannot wait for players to get into the world. I'm really just excited for people to see all the little hidden storytelling elements that the team has fit in.
There's interesting things to find and see and discover around every corner, and it's just a really great experience getting to explore Nahant.
Oh, Macro, you like those new wings, huh? Come on. You're rocking them.
I put them on. I'm rocking the new wings. I'm using the World of Warcraft Necro set in all red with these new wings, and I gotta be honest,
Nice.
I look pretty cool.
Pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Wings sell. It was a great idea to bring them back. When they first said they weren't going to bring wings in, I was like, bad idea if you want to sell cosmetics. Even people who don't buy cosmetics, they'll splurge on wings.
Oh yeah, dude. I'll splurge all over wings.
Yeah, all
bet.
over those wings.
Okay. So that is Diablo IV Vessel of Hatred. Is there anything we still don't know about?
Real quick, there was one more thing they talked
ton?
about.
Really?
They announced timed dungeons, like speed running dungeons, like almost Greater Rift style, that they're going to be adding in. I forgot the name. Let me see real quick what it
They
was.
are the Kurost,
Is that the under the city build your own
Yes.
reward
Yeah, that
thing?
thing. It sounds like a progression style system though, where like it's meant to onboard you onto the harder content in the game. That's the vibe I was getting from it.
Yeah, I think Rod in an interview said it was going to be really good to level through. So yeah, it's probably like a good, like an alternate way to level up, other than just doing Hell Tides.
But now we have Infernal Hordes. You don't need to do anything but that.
That's true. That's true. That's a massive amount of XP.
It needs to the Infernal Hordes. So Dan Tengway is basically like the mastermind behind Infernal Hordes. He's who was on the live camp chat, the campfire chat, where they were kind of tossing questions off of him. Dave's a phenomenal dude. Got to meet him. He's a wonderful guy. When they had Hordes in the PTR, basically the massive feedback was like, I would never do these. Like, there's no reason for me to spend this much time. And they said, heard, chef, got you. And then they put everything into Infernal Hordes. And it was like, hey, y'all remember Nightmare Dungeons? And there's no reason to do them. Also, now there's no reason to do the pit other than like pure ego. And also, like, I never have to go do anything else in the game because I'm here. I get my gear, I get my masterworking materials, and I get
my gems, I get my
gems,
everything.
Gold.
I get my 100 million gold when I get my 1,000 Aether turn in. Like, it was way too good. They need to redistribute that to the rest of the game. But so much of this feedback is just like the expansion's right around the corner. Like, clearly everything is going to be different. You know what I mean? So it's like, feels like a needless battle to try to fight.
I do hope that they do something with the rewards at the end of Infernal Hordes or something. Like, I don't know if they should nerf them, but the level 200 Uber bosses and Infernal Horde 7 and 8 is like, you do one of those and you get now a full inventory of legendaries. Our problem was we did Nightmare Dungeons and we got full inventories of yellows, and that was annoying to go back and like go through and sift through. Same problems happening again with legendaries. And I guess now we're at a point where it's like you just pick up the greater affix ones and that's fine, but there's also a bug in the game where if too many items are on the floor, they start falling through the world. I don't know if that's fixed or not, but that scares the crap out of me when I'm doing a few Uber 200s in a row and I'm just like, okay, let's just reset because there's too much stuff on the floor.
Hey, real quick, what are y'all doing? You just go back to town after each run and sell your stuff, right?
No. I throw it on the floor.
No, I go back to town when I'm full.
But then you have to pick it up and then go back to town and then come back and go back to town and pick it up and go. Like, what's the just go in between? Like, people were reporting this bug and I'm like, how are you experiencing this? Go back to town and sell your stuff. What's happening here?
Frosty doesn't have time for that. He's making
Can't go
AI
back to
songs
town.
and editing videos while playing. He can't do that.
Rax told me town is lava and I should never be in town.
See? There you go.
They need to add vendors to Uber boss areas and the end of the pit.
It's so unironically, people say that a lot. And I do think like at some point it needs to be okay that we're playing like a video game where you have to do this stuff in the video game. Else it is an idle RPG mobile game. Like, I do think it gets like too far at some point. So I don't know where that point is.
This is my question for you, Macro. And I'll try to it's like a long question. So in Diablo 4, there's a lot to do. You've got Tree of Whispers, you've got Fields of Hatred, you've got Legion, you've got World Boss, you've got Pit, you've got regular dungeons, Nightmare dungeons, Hell Tides, you have Infernal Horde. You now got these other 2 endgame systems coming in. And altogether, it's like, I don't know, it's like 13. Like, when you really combine them all, there's like 13 different end game activities, including like obviously bossing and uber bosses. But I feel like, in my opinion, and I feel like I've played every action RPG pretty much, what it's missing is like mapping. Like I would trade 8 of those features for like a mapping feature or a delve or a monolith or any, like something that's like truly engaging that pulls you in. I feel like Blizzard right now continues to update, they continue to refine, the game continues to get better, but they're missing that thing to do at the end. I don't know if you agree or disagree. That's kind of how I feel.
So, well, like I just said, this season in PoE is the first time I really tried to get into it. Like, I just did my first heist, which is, can I just real quick say, the first heist, like the introduction heist, absolutely whooped me. And I had been smearing the rest of the content. I don't know what's up with that. Figure it out, GGG. But you are correct. The thing is, I don't know if the majority of the player base of Diablo 4 agrees.
Yeah.
I want a mapping system. I played a phenomenal mod of Diablo 2 called Project Diablo 2.
I played Project Diablo 2. Yeah.
They're a phenomenal team. They're friends of mine. Shoutouts to Kenite. Shoutouts to Senpai Something. Sorry for their loss recently. They lost a great legend in their community. But they added mapping to Diablo 2. And it was like, oh, this is what I've wanted in Diablo 2 this whole time. I can go craft it. It'll change what happens in it. I can go pick what kind of map I want to run. And that will generally determine the type of rewards I'm going to get. And I want Diablo 4 to have that as well.
Yeah.
The vaults in season 3 were like, what if we made it like a cool dungeon where you chose where you went and you had to have skill and you had to understand the mechanics and you had to know what you were doing. And at the end, you just got a boatload of loot and it was awesome and it was fast and it was cool. And the player base was like, how dare you put mechanics into my game?
Right.
Make it a hallway I run down, no bosses. I just blow up a room where I stand in a corner and then give me my dopamine. And those people aren't wrong, but they are the people playing the game. And I'm not sure if they want that, but I sure do.
Okay. That is fair. It is very easy to get into this content creation, speaking like we're the majority when we're the small minority of people that are so into this genre compared to the average gamer. I totally get what you're talking about. Yeah, because just like what you said, it's like Helltide, Capstone, Helltide. I'm not Helltide. Yeah, Helltide, Capstone, Helltide, Capstone, Infernal Horde, and then dungeons to level glyphs, and then you start bossing, you have your gear, and you're done. Like that, and for me, it was level 100 day 2. By the end of day 4, my barbarian's done. There's nothing left to do, and, you move on. And I know, obviously, we're playing a lot more hours than the average person, but it's like, man, there's like these 11 other systems, and there is no reason to engage with any of them.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, sorry. I've been talking.
Yeah, I'm probably more of the average Diablo 4 player base, believe it or not. I get maybe 2 hours a night, and it's not every night to play Diablo. I do want mapping. It would be like right now, I can't complete a T8 Infernal Horde on my rogue. I don't have all the Ubers that I need for that, I believe. And I'm just finding I have to farm these Uber items, and that takes a long time. I got like 2, maybe 3 hours to play a night, and I can spend that entire time farming enough materials to fight a level 200 Uber boss 2, maybe 3 times. And that's it. That's my entire 3-hour night. Like, I think I would enjoy doing a mapping system, even if it's like takes a long time to do, just as a way of changing it up and not just doing the same thing over and over. And it's kind of like roguelike in a way where it's like you don't know what path you're going to go, you don't know what abilities you're going to pick. I
think that's okay what you just said. Grinding for the materials to do the Ubers is fine. It's just, is the grinding for the materials an enjoyable feature of the game? Or it's like,
yeah,
all right, we beat Uber Dural 3 times. I got crap. Back to farming more eggs, you know, like, or living steel, right? So,
and if they have that in the mapping system, that'd be like an awesome way to do it instead of me just doing Hell Tides 1,000 times or going to Nightmare Dungeons to get like the blood or the terror or whatever those you get from Nightmare Dungeons. And I don't know. I don't mind it. I think it'd be a great addition. They are adding in a lot of endgame systems. They keep piling it on. They're going to have to maybe cut down a little bit. I don't know if people do the gauntlet anymore, but it's going to end up being like PoE, where there's like a billion endgame systems.
The gauntlet, right? Wasn't that you?
It was me. I got to do the live stream casting of that with Anna Cake. I actually really liked the gauntlet. Just before you said that, I was like, oh, we forgot the other endgame content. The gauntlet. It's really interesting. So the pit could have been mapping.
Yeah.
Right? You would craft like a pit sigil. This would do different things. You know, remember when Nightmare Dungeons had like different sigil effects?
Yes.
Some of them were good and some of them were bad. And then everybody basically hated that. And they said, stop it. I just want a hallway. I can't stress this enough how many times people have just removed any identity from the content because they're like, no, give me a hallway with a boss at the end. But craft a pit rune shard. It's going to change the type of monsters that you see in that. It's going to allow you to like pick the type of rewards you get at the end. You get to the end and you get a shower of loot. Would be pretty cool. The big thing is there's kind of nothing in between. It's your character kills the stuff to get the loot. It's not like you need to like get this particular orb to add this type of affix to your loot. There's not really crafting in that way. It's you go get the loot and then you pretty naturally get the materials to craft the loot and then you do it. And there's no intermediary. So the only reward they can ever give us is like XP or the loot itself. And I think that's probably one of the things that's fundamentally missing that then enables you to have cool endgame systems to go participate in.
Yep. No, I agree. Okay, we're Frosty, we're way over on time. I mean, we're not over in time, but in where we're supposed to be at.
To the next screen? Are we're good on?
I mean, we don't have to cover PoE. I feel like we probably should. I don't know.
We can quickly go over it.
All right, let's quickly go over it. It's just a 1-minute trailer starting now.
My son, are you clear of mind and stout of heart?
I am.
Are you ready to sacrifice? Sacrifice everything to become the savior?
I will.
Do you have the strength to sweep aside this world and build it anew?
I must.
Are you ready to fulfill your destiny?
Ooh.
Yes,
That was tight.
I am ready.
Oh boy. Okay. Macro, do you think this is going to shake things up?
Can I admit a funny thing real quick?
Sure.
Not having seen any of the PoE2 stuff yet because I didn't want to spoil myself. When this first started playing, I thought this was a Legacy of Kain remaster reveal at the beginning because the guy kind of looks like a cool vampire.
Wait a second. Are you saying this is the first trailer you have seen for Path of Exile 2?
Yeah, no joke.
Spoiler alert.
Okay, I believe you. Now you have to tell me from watching that, what do you think?
So having played my first real season of PoE this season, the boss fights look amazing. I really like the kind of trimmed down UI of it. I hope I don't have to go click a waypoint to go teleport somewhere in 2024. That is probably my most annoying thing. I'll like open up my map and click on it and I won't go there. And I'm like, oh, right, this is a game from 1,000 years ago. I have to go click the waypoint. But, I mean, the game looks phenomenal from the people I've talked to about PoE 2. A lot of the kind of pain points and a lot of the rough edges of the game are being sanded away in some kind of attempt to make it a little bit more approachable by your average player, which I can appreciate. And I'm crazy excited for it.
Oh my gosh, now someone in chat's like, show him the Witch trailer. No, I don't want to spoil everything. He doesn't even want to watch this. I can't do that. The Witch trailer is so sick. You would be like...
Everybody's like, go watch the real Necromancer. And I'm like, guys, I do other stuff. But yeah, it sounds exciting. Let me play PoE and then I'll go get excited for that thing.
Right.
No, but I'm crazy excited for this. That looked amazing. The art looks amazing. I think that's one of the biggest things for me originally that was holding back PoE. It's just kind of hard to go back to a game that looks like that in this day and age if you don't have love for it in your heart. I'm not shitting on it. It's just hard if you're not accustomed to it. It's a little bit too cartoonish for me. But this is like chef's kiss.
Now, I know you mentioned yesterday when we were chatting that you play all your games on a controller, correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, I do.
So knowing the community, and more people are adapting controller. Like, so a lot of people, like I grew up on D2. I don't know. I'm going to use my keyboard and mouse until my wrists fall apart, I think, just because that's what I've always done. And I have played Path of Exile 2. I was fortunate enough to get to be able to play it at kind of a private event last year. And it really is fun, the way the character interacts with the environment. And it's like, I was playing Druid as a werebear, and I made a little earthquake. And then when I like earthquaked on the volcano, it like erupted. It was very, very neat. But that being said, I think a lot of people are going to find that this is WASD movement. The idea is that they want you to play it on a controller, not a keyboard and mouse. You can play it point and click, but the game is designed so that you could strafe. You could move backwards as you shoot, left, right. It is designed as WASD. What do you think people will think of that, Macro?
So that's really interesting. So yeah, if people didn't know, oddly enough, your game has to be controller first if you intend on releasing on PS5 and Xbox.
Yep.
That's just a true statement.
Which this is. And just, I'm sorry, I know I asked the question. I'm going to say something again. GGG publicly came out and said, I've played the video 100 times because people don't believe me. We want to sell, like, this is Grinding Gear Games comes out and says, we want to sell you on controller. We want you to play this on a controller, which is just like, I mean, it's fine. I got nothing against controllers. I'm playing Black Myth Wukong on controller right now, but yeah. Anyways, go on.
They recently added WASD movement to Diablo 4, and if you wanted to like cheat out some really min-max strats, it turns out by doing WASD movement, you can actually cast while moving on a lot of different skills. So for the tryhards out there, it's actually enabling you to be elitist and just strictly better than your average gamer.
There you go.
If you want to stay on mouse and keyboard. So like there's that silver lining. We're getting old, guys. Hey, fun fact, the ARPG genre, the demographic starts at 28 and goes up to 70. Like that's the demographic watching this content, playing these games. We're having this golden age resurgence where every single company is putting out a new ARPG, which is awesome, but it's to an older class of gamers. I play on controller because I developed carpal tunnel from getting world first 99 in PD2. Actually, like my crew, we got all 8 of us to 99 before anybody else in the world. It took 2 weeks of 20 hours of gaming a day because it was old Diablo 2 experience grind. And I developed carpal tunnel. So that's why I have to play on controller. But a controller first ARPG, Diablo 4 has set a really, really high bar for controller play in the ARPG space, I feel like. So I hope that GGG is taking down notes from that experience. And
do you think it'll be a shock to players when they log in to play Path of Exile 2, the next best action RPG, and they realize it is not point and click?
It's don't log into the subreddit for the first month, because that's all it's going to be. It's going to be thread after thread after thread of how could they do this to us, and then it's going to be the counter threads of stop complaining, it's better ergonomically. Like that's all the subreddits.
Macro, I tell people this on my stream and they literally say I'm lying to them. I have to pull up the video from GGG and show them literally their own words because they don't believe me.
I believe it, man. But like, hey, controller master race over here apparently, because I have fun trying to beat me. I got 2,000 hours on Diablo 4 on controller only.
Dude, you are going to be set for PoE2. Macro is going between 2 portals. Hot seat time.
Bum, bum, bum.
I don't believe it's ASTW, by the way. Okay, let's go.
I don't believe Frosty doesn't believe it. All right, rapid fire question time. I'm going to start. How good does Rax smell?
Didn't smell him too much. He's a handsome guy. He's a lot more fit than you expect him to be.
Okay.
When you're out in public, do you think more about parkouring on objects or dance moves?
Dance moves are my stim that I do when I'm nervous, and I'm nervous most of the time, so dance moves.
Okay. Boxers or briefs?
Gross boxers, obviously.
Okay.
What's your favorite food? And quick follow-up, what's your favorite fast food?
Oh, that's such a great question. My favorite food are mozzarella sticks from Polcari's, and then my favorite fast food is Taco Bell, easily.
What do you get from Taco Bell? Cheesy Gordita Crunch? Come on!
Cheesy Gordita Crunch with the Doritos Locos taco switched in for it. I get 2 soft potato tacos. I get a stacker because quesadilla is too expensive at this point, and then whatever their version of the beefy 5-layer burrito that's currently like the big sale item.
Nice. Why in Diablo 4 are all necromancers left-handed?
Because they are sinister. I actually really like that. It's probably one of my favorite attentions to detail, this idea that they are specifically different than other people that way.
Nice. I didn't know that. Is it true that you sleep with a body pillow?
I have a body pillow. Yes.
Okay, we can leave it at that. You can get more specific if you want. Who's on it?
Me all night.
Like a full-size body pillow, sideways.
Like a 6-foot-long body pillow. I'm one of those people who needs my sleep talismans, to quote the McElroy brothers. I have my body pillow for my arms, and I have one of those cube pillows. Y'all need to get on them cube pillows, bro. They will change your life.
They're too small.
No, I'm talking like a 1.5 foot tall, like cube pillow that like eats up all the space between your neck and the shoulder. It's awesome. You got to Google it, man. They're so good. I have a big old heavy head. I crush pillows.
Vanilla or chocolate? Ice cream. You can only pick one.
Coffee. Next question.
When was the last time you fully shaved your face?
Ooh, great. I actually shaved for this podcast, so I trimmed it up a little bit for y'all.
That's nice.
But fully shaved it when I was applying to my last corporate office job is when I fully shaved my face.
Which was when?
2018, so 6 years ago.
Okay.
I'll let you go on with your beard questions and just get them all out of the way.
Oh, that was it. I mean,
I thought you were going to ask next, like, what products you use or what comb. None of that.
I assume you don't use anything, but what do you?
I use an old like hair trimmer that I bought from Walgreens when I was 18. The thing still goes. It's absolutely phenomenal. No products.
Good.
I'm a greasy Italian. I know I look super white here. It's because I have like 3 different LEDs on me. I actually tan like fairly well. I'm just super greasy, so
I'm a greasy Italian too. Look at that.
You get it. You get it. Goombats over here.
Look at that. Do you think there'll ever be a StarCraft crossover in D4? Or in general, do you think Blizzard will ever do anything with StarCraft? Sorry.
Is StarCraft still on the launcher? It feels like that bad at this point where like they just forgot it exists.
Like maybe they're working on StarCraft Ghost or something.
They said that they're coming out with a team that's creating like B tier kind of games, not AAA or maybe just single A games. And they're going to be able to make a bunch more like random games. And I'm hoping they do something with StarCraft. Doesn't have to be an RTS.
Sell it. They'll never do it. I just wish they would sell StarCraft to someone else.
I just don't want it to be a phone game. Just don't make it a phone game.
Turn it into a TV show for all I care. Actually, don't do that. That'll be ruined too. Never mind. They're all bad ideas.
Have you ever purchased anything from the Diablo IV cosmetic shop?
I've purchased 2 things from the cosmetic shop. One of my chat members wanted me to have Invincible, the invisible horse from World of Warcraft. So I went and bought that because they very specifically donated for it. And then I bought the World of Warcraft Warlock skin because I had platinum left over from a battle pass.
Okay.
Do you have any pets?
I don't. We want to have big dogs, like a couple pitties and a Rottweiler, but we have to go buy a house first.
If you were assembling a dance team and needed 2 more members, which Diablo IV content creators would you want on your team?
Oh man, Diablo IV content creators who I think could like really, really break it down and bust a move here.
You gotta have on your team, man.
I gotta have them on my team.
It's a competition. You gotta win.
God, that's so rough. I don't know if anybody has any rhythm. Barricade right off the bat, and Dioxide and Barricade.
Perfect.
All the
Perfect.
Time.
I'm being told that you might not be the best D4 Necro on Max Roll. Any comments? Necro main.
That I'm not the best. In what regard? Like somebody come try to test my metal. Like who's
They said that there's another creator on Max Roll's D4 that mains Necro that could put up a challenge. I don't know.
Oh, absolutely. So Chronix is my boy. If we're trying to do a race in hardcore, like
that was the question: is Chronix better than you?
Ah, gotcha. Chronix is phenomenal. I love the kid. There's a reason why I brought him onto the team and why I selected him out of the people who interviewed and applied. He knows his stuff. He's really good at the game. He's super genuine. I love the kid.
Okay.
Would you rather have the members of LMFAO recognize you in public or have Adam Jackson sing to you happy birthday?
I'd rather have LMFAO recognize me in public, mostly because I was Melbourne shuffling long before they brought shuffling into the mainstream, and I would really like to dance battle with Red Foo.
Oh, wow. That was
actually really Sky Blue. You know what? Sky Blue is actually the one who could real dance. Red Foo, he learned how to shuffle. I'm not trying to shade him, but Sky Blue for sure.
How does Max Roll approve a build to go on their website? Do they just trust you, or is there a vetting process?
I mean, without getting too specific, so we have class leads. I'm the class lead for Necromancer, right? So it's my responsibility to know what the meta looks like and to okay the builds for the Necromancer that we're going to highlight. Obviously, there's like some top-down oversight. You know, like Woody's basically like the D4 team lead. So if he's like, hey, there's a lot of noise about this thing, are we going to cover it? And that will come through. But it's on the class leads to really determine what is of value to educate our users on and how they can go about doing it.
Do they treat you okay?
I'm sorry?
Does Max Roll treat you okay?
Oh, phenomenal, dude. Like I mean, I also won't go into too many details, but like the original owner of Max Roll who like brought me on and like gave me that opportunity. I mean, I talk to that dude every single week. I was just talking to him today.
Alex?
Alex, yeah. So he's phenomenal. And you know, it's always that lame kind of like, it's like a family. No, I mean like getting to meet these people, getting to go meet Woody and Rex, getting to meet Dioxide and Echo, and everybody at like BlizzCon. It was awesome. It was getting to see my friends who I've been talking to now for years and working with. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, speaking of friends, is it true that Riker gave you one of his actually worn hats? Oh man.
Fun story about the hat. So
Frosty's gonna do. You shouldn't have put that hat on. Oh, he's just gonna. Never mind. Go on.
So funny thing about the hat. I initially first worked with CJ because he was covering Diablo II Resurrected when it was coming out, and he wanted like somebody who was knowledgeable. So I sat down with him and basically did this whole recording where it was like I broke down all the patch notes for him and like tried to get his viewership up to speed. And we worked really well together. And as we're talking, he's like, is there anything I can do for you? I was like, oh, I just want your hat. And he's like, what? And I was like, yeah, just send me a hat. He's like, well, I have like a merch store.
And you're like, I want like, the one you're wearing right now.
He's just like, I don't own extra hat. Like there's a shipping company that produces them on demand. I don't have like a back stock. And I was like, oh, okay, I'll get a hat eventually. Fast forward to the week before BlizzCon, where they flew us out to Irvine to try out the Gauntlet in the Pit before it had been released. And we were hanging out, and I'm finally getting to meet him. And I was like, okay, I do need a hat now, though. He's just like, I mean, I have an extra one, but like I've worn it, I've sweated in it. It's like, that's perfect. Yeah, that'll work exactly for what I need. Thank you.
Nice. So have you ever washed it?
Do you wash hats?
Yeah, you can't. That would take the Riker out of it.
It takes the Riker right out of it.
Yeah, what are you talking about?
I'm trying to be as near to him as without being creepy. without being creepy. It's a very clean hat. Shout outs to Riker for letting me harass him until he gave me some of his merch for free.
Nice.
Do you find it odd that there's no Necro build that uses both Blood Surge and Blood Lance?
Inaccurate, actually. It was only up until season 4 where a lot of builds would actually hybridize between them and just swap out their gloves for Blood Lance ranks or Blood Surge ranks, so you could have Blood Lance for a single target against bosses, but that was sweaty tryhard before they started making content where you couldn't swap out your gear. So sorry, fact check.
Gosh, he just
so
knows, he
I know
knows
you're
everything.
I know you're under NDA, but can you tell us if there is a cow level in the new expansion?
Ooh.
There is no cow level.
Okay.
Damn.
How blind are you if you took off your glasses?
Oh, shout outs to Gamer Advantage. These are just for blue light blockers. I don't really blink a lot. If you go back and watch this, if I'm blinking, I'm doing it manually because I'm a psychopath. But these are just for blue light blocking. I have 20/20 vision. I don't need to wear these at all.
Oh, Frosty is devastated right now because he thought you were blind like him. And he's more like me, Frosty. Not like you.
Let's talk about it. No, unironically, there's like, I can do this. There's no magnification on these. They're just blue light blockers.
Huh.
Wait, does that work for me?
No,
oh, yeah.
It's all weird looking now.
Yeah, it distorts you. Yeah, see?
Yep.
Makes your head.
Okay.
AI doesn't know what
to do. Good way
to
to find out. Oh, yeah, this is in real background.
That is hilarious.
So I got like just one more question, and it's a pretty controversial one. Do you love Mr. Beast?
Do I love? I don't really know Jimmy. I haven't really had an opportunity to meet Jimmy. Outside of the scandals, I think that there's a lot of really good that he has done in the universe. But if the allegations are true, horrendous garbage, absolute garbage.
Okay,
like you can't just like walk over the bodies of people to get what you want to do.
I agree. I pretty much asked the question, so in the title I can say MacroBioBoi comes clean about Mr. Beast and get like a few million views, you know?
Sure, yeah.
My final question. Come end of October, early November, will be Cycle 3 of Last Epoch. Would you be willing to play the game Last Epoch on that Cycle 3 release? And I will lend you as much support as humanly possible.
I have played Last Epoch. I played Last Epoch. I played, what is it called over there? What's the Necromancer of Last Epoch?
The Necromancer. Oh, the Acolyte. You picked an Acolyte.
The Acolyte, yeah, because I
Yes.
did the Acolyte, and then I was a Grim Reaper or something.
So you went
and
into Lich instead of Necro.
I went into Lich instead
Yeah.
of Necromancer to be subversive. I did Lich. I really liked that game up until I hit this one map where you go down to like a catacomb. The checkpoint is like 15 screens deep. And then all of a sudden, everything was just doing like explosive bleed and poison damage. And I went from walking through monsters and not stopping to dying for 2 hours straight.
What if I told you I would power level you to end game so that you could experience it? You don't even have to play the campaign.
If you will play with me, if you will group with me and you'll play with me and teach me how to do it, I'll come play a game.
Done. Consider it written, consider it done. By the way,
Oh,
Cycle 3 is Subathon 2, which I am absolutely terrified about. So, yeah, awesome.
What date is Cycle 3 again?
Yeah. What's the date?
So, their cycles are between 3 and 4 months, knowing that D4's expansion is October 8th and November 15th is PoE2. It'll be mid to end of October to first week of November, something like that.
I'll do the release weekend with you, and I
Awesome.
will experience Last Epoch.
Done. I love that. Okay, everybody. You have officially survived between two portals. Very nice job answering the rapid fire questions. Everybody, we are officially transitioning to the last part of the podcast. Macro, you doing okay on time? It's just going to be...
Oh, yeah, man. Don't even worry about it. I'm a
Awesome.
vampire.
We are moving into the Q&A. So if you have any questions for Macro, now is the time, whether you are on YouTube or Twitch, to throw them out. Let's do it. All right. See, now you're at the nice, comfortable starting screen. You know, you're in a good spot. Okay.
The buzzing was getting to me of the town portals, which I was between.
Right. I know another famous Necro streamer. He was once in a band. Have you ever been in a band? He's talking about Gazzy.
Oh, my boy Gazzy was in a band. That makes sense. He's got the hair for it. No,
Yep.
I was never in a band. I'm not artistic in any way. That's why I dance, actually, is because it's like one of my few forms of expression that I can do in an artistic way. So sadly, I was never in a band. I probably would have been a bassist, though.
Nice.
Do you like the darkness?
Do I like the darkness? Yeah, I like the darkness.
He likes the darkness. Do you
Would
like
you ever
polka?
Yeah, go on.
I love Weird Al Yankovic, yeah.
If Gazzy invited you to a hot tub stream, would you participate?
Well, you need to get a third guy in there and then maybe a fourth guy in there to really get enough testosterone to power it. Yeah, I mean,
Nothing more manly than that.
You know, it's kind of a joke from the neckbeard incels on the internet. It's like, Cook W, hot tub stream. First off, we're all selling our bodies. Calm down. Everybody here is selling their bodies too. But I would do a hot tub stream. Sure, why not? I don't think anybody wants to look at me, but I would do it.
Have you ever done a subathon?
I've never done a subathon. I have perpetual imposter syndrome. Like, Blizzard is flying me out to Irvine, California to like host their stuff, and I'm like, nobody would watch my subathon. I'm nobody. So like, you know, I exist in this weird liminal space where I don't think anybody knows who I am.
Yeah, I can relate. I don't even know what I'm doing half the time.
How did you even get on this podcast, Frosty?
Dude, people have asked me, and I'm just like, I don't know. It just happened.
Right?
He showed up and he's like, well, he fits in the frame. Yeah, sure.
Hey,
Yeah,
Macro,
he's like, oh,
what do you think of Frosty's background?
Oh, I love it. I wish I had a cool background like that. And it wasn't just shilling for myself over here.
Do you
Who's
think
that? Is that Isual? Who's that?
Yeah, basically, it is that plus Frost Mage.
Frost Mage. That's sick. I like that.
Yeah, he painted it himself. It's pretty cool.
Yes, and this is my stuff that I sell in my store over here.
I love that. Oh, is this like Moonlighter, where like you go do your dungeon delving to load up your store shelves?
That's exactly right. Have you ever watched the LARPing movie Lloyd the Conqueror?
Lloyd the Conqueror? No, I have not, but I would love to.
I've never heard of it, so I don't know if the person's saying. I don't know.
Have you ever played Monster Hunter?
I did. I played Monster Hunter for the PSP. That's the only time I played. I forget what it was. It was a good time. but it didn't necessarily sink its teeth into me in the way that you kind of have to for Monster Hunter.
Does Macro? Oh, good.
Oh, does Wukong seem interesting to you? Because I know you're into Dark Souls.
Wukong does seem interesting to me. I'm huge into Dark Souls. I love a good, Monkey King. It looks beautiful. If I ever had time, I would love to check it out.
Does Macro honestly like the direction of D4 is going with the new systems and the up and coming DLC? Honestly, so.
Honestly, sure. One, I did hit the Discord call with at least one of the parkour videos where you can watch me have blonde hair and do a flip or something. But do I honestly like it? I think that we've been waiting for this game to have enough stuff in it so that people can go, cool, I'm interested in playing it, and then they can work on mastering those things. So I love that they're adding group content, because we clutch our pearls weirdly about having group content in this this MMO ARPG in 2024. I am legitimately excited about that. I think the new area is really cool. I think the Spiritborn is going to put a lot of pressure on the other classes to kind of evolve in ways that I think are important.
Okay.
I think the group finder is great. Am I honestly excited? Of course I'm honestly excited. It's a game that I enjoy playing, and they're giving me more stuff to do.
What is your favorite Legacy of Kain title?
My favorite
or
Legacy
Soul
of
Reaver,
Kain title. Yeah. I think it was the second game. I'm trying to remember. It was the game where you could actively turn into wolf or bat form kind of whenever you wanted to. I watched my dad play this game when I was a kid. And I think it was the second game in the series, but I can't remember. I have Nosgoth downloaded on Steam. I put an hour into it, so I'm a true gamer.
You are a true gamer.
I did too. Did they shut that down though?
Almost certainly, dude. It was absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
Have you ever played Civ? And if yes, do you look forward for Civ 7?
I have so on stream I was like, how many hours do I have in Civ 5? And the answer is 1,000. I'm a big Civ fan. I'm excited for Civ 7. I basically haven't played since Civ 5. I just don't really have time to sit down for 40 hours and play against a computer and min-max my input of citizens to each tile. But I was a big fan of it in college.
Okay. We got to get away from Uber boss farming. Any chance the Uber uniques being open to more places?
So the interesting part is that they did open up Ubers to everywhere, and people will be like, oh my God, I just opened up my world boss chest and I got an Uber. I think what's kind of interesting is the min-maxing leads you to only do the tormented bosses because that's faster.
Yeah.
And because you're playing the game so fast, you're not just kind of walking around and killing stuff and finding things. And that's, I think, arguably one of the sadder parts about Diablo 4 is that most people don't really experience that in any meaningful way because it's just kind of inefficient. There's kind of too much of a gap between the casual experience and people who actually watch the content online and play at that level experience.
Nice. When do you plan to go back to PoE from the PoE people?
I plan on beating the campaign in this season, and I'm just now finishing up double checking my theory crafts of the underutilized builds on the Necromancer.
Okay.
I have one more build guide I want to write, and then I'm probably going to pop back into PoE.
Oh, follow-up question for my own on that. After playing PoE, did you do it on stream?
I did, yes. Yep.
Okay, so you probably gained some PoE fans. When you stopped playing, how upset were they?
The interesting part is that the vast majority of people who are watching me play PoE since it was the season start are actually just the people who know me from Diablo 4 and Diablo 2. So there was a very small handful of people who found me while playing PoE, and they are the kind of people who stuck around are the ones who vibed with kind of my energy.
Okay.
So they're just kind of ARPG fans who also like my brand. I haven't found... The big thing that's kind of funny is my community expects me to deep delve everything, open up an Excel sheet, and they're like, this is why we need you on PoE. While simultaneously, everybody told me, don't you dare put out a build guide on PoE because we're going to tear you apart. And I'm like, first off, you're not my dad. Don't talk to me like that. But second off, if that's reality, then sure, I guess I won't be a creator in that space, but like I can make stuff. Like this was my experience going blind into like I didn't use a POB at all. I'm a chieftain marauder build. I'm 100% converted into fire damage and figuring out how penetrate and flipping resistances work. And it's just like, I also get to share my experience. You know what I mean? Like I would be able to talk about that confidently because that's the experience I had. But no, I'm not going to go make a POB for you and try to pretend like I know how to min-max it.
Question from YouTube. What is the hardest game you've ever played?
That's kind of hard to really quantify, right? Like I think playing
we'll just say
Dark Souls,
difficulty, like just overall difficulty, not hours played. Like
maybe as an adult, because as a kid it's like different.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like the hardest game I've ever played was probably like Mega Man 2 because I didn't know in what order to fight the bosses. If we're talking about like most physically difficult to do game, I don't know, man. Like Dark Souls 1 remastered without a guide was pretty hard. That was pretty rough to kind of force my way through, having no Souls experience before then. So like Elden Ring, you know, without knowing what I was doing, Dark Souls 1 without knowing what I was doing. But like go back and try to beat the original like Super Mario Brothers. It's actually very, very difficult to successfully do that without just like cheating.
I don't know if I fully understand this question. Macro, is there a disconnect between casual players, game hoppers, and super fans in Diablo 4?
There definitely is. I think just like kind of any social experiment or social experience that we have, we end up in an echo chamber where we assume everybody is sharing similar experiences. Something that really put this into perspective for me, if you take every single person who's currently subscribed to the Diablo 4 subreddit and you assume they all are still actively playing the game every single day, they make up less than 10% of the original sales of the game.
Yeah.
The subreddit where you assume like the majority of people are more informed than the average casual is less than a statistically relevant number of the total players of the game. Most people are coming home, playing for a couple hours. Maybe they're doing couch co-op with a loved one. They literally don't know what their build is supposed to do. They're in world tier 3 and still figuring out how to do an infernal horde. And they're having a blast with the game. And that is the core audience. We are the sweaty minority.
Yep.
And while our perception of the game and our experience of the game is obviously important because minorities shouldn't be ignored, we truly do not define the audience of the game.
It's like when people were screaming in preseason in season 1 that we need end game, and then Blizzard's like, no, we hear you. We're working on end game. Just so you know, 92% of players haven't finished the campaign yet. And it's like, yeah.
And probably like 95 don't even watch Twitch for Diablo.
That's probably like 98.
So like back when the season launched and we were coming out with like that day where they announced like I think the Spiritborn, then PoE came out with their stream and they like had 5 times the views of Diablo.
It was like 10
Everyone's
times.
like, oh my god, PoE's wrecking Diablo. They're gonna beat them, and it's just like the majority and your average Diablo player isn't even touching Twitch. Like, and it's probably still at least 10 times the people playing Diablo as PoE. Hear that, PoE players?
The best ARPG build you've ever played in any game.
Oh wow, that's interesting.
I'm thinking too.
The best build I've ever played, because it only recently became a thing in the game, is what I called the double Nova Sorceress in Diablo 2. You can cast Nova yourself in Diablo 2, and there's also chance to cast Nova when you're struck, which you can get to 100%. And now that they removed next hit delay, the major issue is a bunch of them would all trigger simultaneously and not do damage, but now they all do damage. And it's like quintuple casting Nova per second, and it's very, very cool to watch.
I did not know that existed, and Nova Sorcerer was like always my favorite build in that game. I always try to get there, but Infinity was like...
There you go. It's like Righteous Fire Nova D2 Source. That's perfect.
Dude, everybody was talking about Righteous Fire. Like, that was a big meme, and I had no idea what people were referencing. They're like, go Righteous Fire. And I'm like, is it good? I don't know what that
Righteous
means.
Fire. It just means you run around and do nothing. You just like have an AoE around you.
I played PoE twice, and the first time I played it, it went Righteous Fire. The second time I played, I still had no idea how to play the game.
If you could quickly macro rank your best ARPGs, we'll say isometric hack and slash in order, just the major ones, which ones do you think were up there?
Do I have to put them in an order or just say like top 5?
The question was
rank 'em?
Rank.
Okay, I'm going to... This is not to piss people off. It's different strokes for different folks.
Yep.
Going from 1 to 5, it'll be Diablo 4, Torchlight Infinite, PoE, Diablo Immortal.
Oh, that is going to piss off so many people.
Wow.
Hey, hear me out really quickly. Never give Blizzard money for Diablo Immortal. They lied to us, and that is bull. The game itself is, 1, the best mobile game I've ever played, hands down, not even close. And 2, a phenomenal Diablo experience. And if they could take half of the stuff that they put in there, including the leaderboards and everything that you could do with your clans and how much of a community it was driven from playing that game, and put it into Diablo 4, it would be a significantly better game. Yes, the monetization is garbage. Do not give them money. They lied to you, and that's BS.
I am also a huge Torchlight Infinite fan. I would love to see an end game like that. That's basically exactly what I am talking about. Their end game mapping system in Diablo 4. It's a very the game is better than a lot of people think.
Yeah. I'm brand new to Torchlight.
Game.
Yeah, Torchlight.
Aaron got me into Torchlight, and I played first time last season, and there's one thing about it that I really liked, and it's for like, average casual gamers, where I think it connects to max roll, and you could it tells you basically how you should go roughly. You pick your spec, your build, and it's like, okay, then you don't have to tab out to go to max roll. It's built within the game, and I think that'd be amazing for Diablo.
It's
especially a Paragon board.
That's one of the coolest things. It's like so we're the official builds, like we're the official resource site for the game, which is just like insane to be able to say that. I think we have a really good relationship with that company, and Torchlight Infinite, unironically, phenomenal game. The crafting is very good. The end game mapping system is very good. That's actually something that I like about Diablo Immortal, is it's a much more boiled down version, but it's like, oh, you want to get these types of items, you will do maps in this area until you do it, and then you can get the drops that you're looking for. Then you can move on to the next one to get the loot that's in these types of mapping systems. I think that's something that like we're really missing out.
We had Andre on episode 3 of the Town Portal podcast. Andre is the community manager for XD, and he it wasn't a leak, but he was just talking about possibly the separation of mobile and PC version for Torchlight Infinite, which I was like, oh,
yes,
that's
please.
pretty
that
interesting.
Would be very cool. It's first off, it was built for mobile and it was ported to PC.
Yep.
Just like Diablo Immortal. And that's probably one of the worst parts about the experience on PC is how mobile forward it is. I have to play it on mouse and keyboard. There's 15 million menu pop-ups. And it's like you walk into a system and it's like, here's this progression map of this system. And I click that and it's like, you unlocked the progression system of the progression system.
You're basically just clicking on red dots, right? You're trying to clear all the red dots. I hate that crap.
It's just like, what's happening right now? And they're like, oh, that's the dream nightmare mode. And that will modify when you're in a map and it's a sub map you go into. And I'm like, hey, maybe this is too much, guys. Maybe this doesn't work on PC so well.
Any thoughts on Titan Quest 2?
I haven't looked into it. I'm sorry. I've tried to have an answer for every single question. Just haven't looked into Titan Quest.
Okay.
I only have so many hours in the day.
It's not
sadly.
acceptable. It's not acceptable.
Look, I'm trying.
No, you're doing great. Mobalytics has an overlay for D4. Do they? But it's different. If Mobalytics has an overlay for D4, is it like an approved Blizzard tool? For Torchlight Infinite, it's built like you go to the settings and it says max roll. I'm guessing that's very different. It's very different.
It is different. I actually have no idea how they have an overlay for D4. That's very interesting. I've always found that very interesting.
Does he think D4 will ever implement an actual crafting system that is not a casino?
I would like them to so here's the interesting part. The different ARPGs should have different identities and offer different experiences, else it's just a OST and a reskinning at the end of the day. Diablo IV needs more crafting. If it's just PoE's crafting, there's no reason for these two games to exist in the same market. So I'd like for them to create a new, different crafting archetype. The issue being that there's only so much you can do with ARPGs. So at the end of the day, it's gonna resemble the other things. You know, like there's a lot in the tempering system that's actually very similar to Torchlight Infinite, where it's, you know, it's a different limiter of resources, but they need to add more crafting. I agree. I think masterworking and tempering is a pretty decent step forward. Its major issue is that it doesn't actually change how you play the build so much. It just gives you a different way of optimizing builds.
Don't worry, everybody. Macro's already agreed that weekend launch of Cycle 3 for Last Epoch, he's going to play if I play with him.
Oh, yeah. So, okay, sorry. Okay.
So I'm going to show him. I'm going to show him what might have been borrowed. Don't worry.
Yes, sorry. I realize that it's also very similar to Last Epoch. It's the
forging.
It's forge. Yeah. I'm sitting there. I'm like, it's durability is what it is. No, I actually really like the crafting system in Last Epoch. I like the idea of when you salvage an item, you get those affix shards and you get to use that for doing something else. I do really like that. There was a couple of things I didn't like about it. Like they had gold values as if you could trade them, but you couldn't.
It's because their initial thought was shards are items, but they're not actually items. It's really stupid.
Sure.
But yeah.
You know, it didn't help that sometimes I would hover over one and it would take up half the screen because the sizing on things was bananas wild at launch. But I like that system as well. Again, I don't want them to just bite that entirely. Like, I do think that tempering is distinctly different in a way where it is these types of things that you can get and they're kind of grouped into families, and, you know, it has to be different or we're just doing the same thing.
Oh, real quick, I don't know if we mentioned this, but in the new endgame event, the co-op, whatever it's called, we're getting a weekly
Frosty,
reward.
my headset just turned off, so I can't hear you.
Okay. Can you hear me, Macro?
Say all the mean things you've always wanted to say to Aaron right now.
Okay. Well, we're getting a one-time a week reward for the endgame event where we're going to be able to reset the tempering on an item. So if you ever have those triple greater affix best in slot weapon or whatever, and you just bricked it because you didn't get the right temper, you can now reset that once a week. I don't know if we mentioned that.
You can reset it once
ever, I think.
Ever?
Yeah. Adam Fletcher, Pez Radar, tweeted out a clarification. It can be used once on an item, and it's a one-time use. So once you use it, it's gone, obviously. I think everybody was assuming that, but for some reason, people were confused. But
why? The
item can be reset one time.
Basically means that you could technically, with really bad luck, still brick it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, well, like, why?
I think that's a really good question because, it's not just once a week, though, because they also just drop in the world just at a reduced rate.
I figured it would, because you can't do this without getting the expansion, I think.
Exactly. And they clarified that it would drop it, you know, in other sources as well, so that people who don't have the expansion can get access to it. Why? Okay. It either has to be you're okay with bricking or you're not okay with bricking. Here's what I think needs to happen. I think bricking the items is too harsh and tempering is too harsh. So if bare minimum they added in, you could keep the last temper roll. And if you really want to, you could reset it one time. Then I think we're in this good place where items are being taken out of the pool, which is like a serious driver of the economy and also of people wanting to continue to play the game. I know nobody likes that concept, but like some of us want people to stick around after a week and continue to play the game. And they just need to make the feel bad moments of tempering feel less bad so that the good moments rise through and you actually remember those a lot more.
I feel like it's important that you can brick items.
Which is
because
what all of us elitists agree on, honestly.
Like if you find a good item, it's like, okay, my amulet's good forever. That's actually not, I don't know. Yeah,
interesting.
I don't think for
now that I know that they can drop more than once a week, I'm okay with it only being able to use it once. I actually didn't know. I didn't fully know, but I figured it would be the case. But yeah, that makes sense.
Part of me makes me think when you temper, you shouldn't be able to roll the same things. It's like, I don't want dodge. And I got dodge, 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 dodge. It's bricked. But then it's like, but I would want to roll the same thing if I'm trying to get a better roll value.
Right.
So I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how you.
Yeah, I don't think they should limit that.
I think it really comes down to, so like, here's an example.
It's always dodge.
It's always dodge. It's always curse size. It's always dodge. I needed to hit Essence Restore when I use a skill. I hit it on my first roll, except it was a minimum roll. That unironically locks me out of like nearly 1 billion damage per second. So I could accept the fact that I'm going to have this low roll, or I could try to keep rolling and potentially brick this item. If I could just keep the last roll, I'm okay with the bricking in a meaningful way where at least I still have a usable item at the end of it.
But that's how enchanting is. You could take the new one or you could keep the current, right?
Yeah. And
I agree.
To their credit, they straight. So here's the other thing too, and I know it's hard for us to really empathize in this way, but like stick with me here. There are artists creating a thing that they want people to experience. That is what video game developers are. We can disagree with it and not like it, but they're not like inherently wrong for going, this is our vision.
Mm-hmm.
How do you guys feel about it? And they came out and they said, we think bricking's important. And it's like, okay, you either do or do not resonate with that concept.
Yep.
And it's okay that they believe that thing. It's not inherently wrong. It's just that the experience of it isn't good enough where I think it warrants how harsh it is.
An example on Barbarian is sometimes I want the temper where there's a 1 in 5 option. But then there'll be another one that's still pretty good, but it's a 1 in 3. And I will literally always go the 1 in 3 because in my head it's like, no, I'm not going to get the 1 in 5. And if I do get it, it'll be a low roll or I'll just brick this item. I don't know if anyone else has experienced that, but
yes. Yeah, you just get like min roll and you're just like accept it, but you have like 4 more attempts, but you're like, I'm not going to risk it. This is too good of a weapon or whatever. And you just don't even try. I do agree. I do think bricking is good because it gives you that feeling of like in the old school Diablo 2 days, you find like a jaw rune or a shackle drops. It's almost like they're trying to do that where you get the perfect temper roll on a really good item and you're just like, that feels really good. Or you masterwork and it crits 3 times into the thing you wanted it to go. And it's just like, I guess their feeling of finding that perfect, awesome item is kind of like also in their crafting system they wanted to convey there as well.
Have you ever seen Rax without his hoodie on?
Of course I have, yeah.
Oh
boy.
What's the follow-up?
He's not bald, or is he bald?
Is he bald? He's not bald. I thought he's not bald.
I'll never tell. He's not bald.
Is there a cow level?
I think he showed his hair. Hasn't he?
He did unironically. Yeah, no, he looks like he looks like he used to tour as a backup bassist for Blink-182 in the 90s. Like that's his kind of aesthetic and he rocks it.
Yeah, there was like a tribute for his 5 years of streaming video where you can see him without his hoodie on if you can hunt that down somewhere.
Very interesting.
But I think my last question here for you would be if you were to LARP as anyone in the Diablo universe, who would you LARP as?
And have you ever streamed in your LARPing character? That's my final question.
Okay. Yeah, that's 2 interesting questions. Who would I LARP at? Like the LARP is I am them.
Yeah,
that's the LARP.
You're them.
So,
that's yes.
You're Deckard Cain, something like that.
Huh.
Yeah, you're the person who upgrades your potions.
Oh my god. I'm gonna go with Alcor. Final answer, obviously.
Okay.
Alcor just being the old curmudgeon dude, just in the back, just like, get out of my hut. It's like, yeah, dude, I vibe. Hey, it's 2024. I'm a millennial. I vibe with get out of my hut energy.
Yes.
That's pretty awesome.
Stop doing those fireworks at 10, 11 at night.
And then, have I ever streamed as my LARP character? I've worn my scale and chainmail before. I've never LARPed it. I've never streamed as my full LARP character because that would require me to turn into a lion person, unironically, because he was a cool lion paladin of the sun. That's actually my aesthetic, is like the thing that gets tears to roll out of my eyes as like a manly man cries is the idea of the staunch warrior who makes a final stand. You know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
The final stand, whatever.
Yep.
It could be Saving Private Ryan.
Leonidas.
Any movie about a war. Yeah, it could be Leonidas. It's like,
Yep.
there's this hilariously funny rap career of the boxer named Roy Jones Jr. And in one of his songs, he had a feature where the guy says, "You will not win because I will not lose. And that's what I live by." Spiteful denial of failure. So I wish I could be a paladin in real life. That's
Every Friday, you should do that as your LARPing stream. Be a new source of income. It'd probably be great, you know?
That would be phenomenal, yeah.
Yeah, be awesome. All right, everyone. That is going to do it for episode 5 of the Town Portal podcast. Macro, thank you so much for coming on. This has been a great 2 hours and 15 minutes. We're only 45 minutes over. That's not too bad. Macro,
Not
do you want to
bad
let
at all.
everybody know your socials and where they can find you? And I will link it in all the videos as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Hold on. I'm going to do it real quick. I'm going to use the power. Bam. That's me. That guy, that douchey guy with the Arcanine mask, that's me. I'm MacroBioBoi
Arcanine mask?
everywhere. Yeah, it's, dude, I have one in real life. I'm such a weeb.
MacroBioBoi.
So this is me. I'm MacroBioBoi. It's an Arcanine. I had a phenomenal artist by the name of Possum Snout make that for me. I'm on TikTok. I'm on Facebook. I'm talking to your grandma on Facebook. I'm on everything as MacroBioBoi. You can find me there. Mostly Twitch and YouTube streaming. Also make videos, etc., etc. But thank you so much for having me, guys. I really appreciate it. This was phenomenal.
This has been awesome. All right, Frosty, you did that great intro. I'm gonna wait for your thumbs up for the. We're out of here.
All right. Well, my outros are not nearly as good as my intros, but thank you, Macro, for joining us today on the Town Portal podcast. He's the first Diablo IV Giga Chad that has the pleasure of joining us, and hopefully it was a good experience. Thanks, everyone, for joining and stopping by, and that's a wrap. Goodbye, everybody. Thumbs up.
Town Portal Podcast, where the gamers unite, along with Aaron and Frosty. We're taking flight